working.
Well, hello. How are you? Welcome. It's nice to see you guys out there. Hello to everyone on YouTube and hello to everyone over there on Rumble. It's going to be an amazing weekend. We're almost there. Just hours away, not long at all. And here we are. It is already noon on the East Coast. If you're out there, do me a favor. Tweet out the link. Let people know that I'm on the air. That's something Google, YouTube, which is the same thing, congratulated me heartily for. And I want to thank all of you. You've been so cool. 130 tweets of the link last month. I don't know how to say thank you in any better way than just, blurting out those words. What can I say but thank you? That was an honor. It was really cool to see it. And I really, really am just proud to have you guys on my side. It's going to be a great weekend. We've got a lot to look forward to, and we have some interestingly strange stories to share with you here today. So welcome. Hey, John Hancock, what's going on? We just had a pretty big hangout over at Teag Odyssey's. He's going to sleep. That's the update on our pal Teag. Teag Odyssey heading off to Dreamland. I wish I could get there a little bit earlier some of these times, but just doesn't always work out. We have two major stories that are brewing here today, this morning. And I would say that Disneyland rejected on lawsuit might be a little bigger than Section 31, because Section 31, well, once I get to that, I'll probably be fairly upset. I want to apologize for yesterday's rant. It was wrong to get that angry about Section 31, but I hate it. I hate the idea. I'm not a fan. I don't think that it should be created. I like the idea of a Star Trek movie, but not that one. I don't think that these people have shown any ability to be Star Trek writers. The cast, I'll take it easy on them. What's to say about the cast? There's no saying, because they're inaugurable in their parts. And by that, I mean, I have absolutely no idea what it is someone's acting level of ability is on that show. It's really low, that I can tell you for sure. But the thing is, hey, John Chipola, it's good to see you. Welcome. Star Trek Discovery is coming back. But even worse than that, they are making a Section 31 movie. Because I tend to get worked up and upset about the Section 31 movie. I'll save that for a little later. But we got a lot of entertainment choices for a Friday, and you chose me. So let me first humbly thank you from the bottom of my heart. And I'm sorry if I'm still a little nasally. That's COVID for you. I'll try to remember to mute when I have to cough a little bit, but just please bear with me. It's nice to see you guys out there. And I guess the first story I'll tell you is just, it's kind of crazy and weird. Someone made it into Disneyland with a 46-year-old ticket. It's this is the situation. Disneyland is like hundreds of dollars to get into. It's it's probably got one of the most sophisticated entry systems in the world. But if you're willing to make some problems, or if you're willing to go the extra mile, you might find out that Disney gets what they pay for. Um, Disney employees work about as hard as they get paid. They're not that well loved. They're not the company isn't that well loved, and going there isn't considered like all the fun in the world anymore. So here we go. Let's take a look at the man who used the 46-year-old ticket to go to Disneyland. Here we go. Let's see what we can do with this one. Man uses 46-year-old ticket that costs $8 to get into Disney's Magic Kingdom. So many of us, this ticket's outside of our lifetime, but as we can see, he managed to get through. Let's take a listen to his story, shall we?
Magic of Disney is now a bit more expensive for some. Yes, even more expensive than it already is at Disney. The price for an annual pass at Disney World in Orlando has gone up 10%
to what? What's here? So the Disney price is going up. Let's hear it.
$1,450 at Disneyland in California.
Whoa, holy shit. So $1,450 for the privilege of walking into the park whenever you want. I don't know if that has the accelerated lane. And let me tell you something, that accelerated lane is not helping Disney stay the happiest place on earth. Do you know what you can find now a lot on YouTube? Fight at Disneyland. Just Google it. There'll be one. The major catalyst for fights seems to have been the Hall of Presidents. It doesn't matter which president was in. The people who didn't like him were booing, hissing, and I think Robot Joe got beat up a couple of times. So did the previous robot. People were just like throwing food and being angry and obnoxious. And it just shows how far we've fallen as a nation. We used to be able to go to the Hall of Presidents and say, okay, this is just a place where I cool off while I get past the fact that I had to stand in line in Orlando for a couple of hours. Let me cool down, get my brain together. I'll watch these robots of the president, and then I'll take a walk over and see what I want to see in Disneyland. What most people don't know is these robots, some of them debuted in New York City. They're from the 1964 World's Fair. They were state of the art at the time, and I'm sure that they've done updates. But when I remember the Hall of Presidents of it, and I've been there a few times, it was kind of cool, but Disney, not so much rides. Disneyland attractions. That's the Disney thing. Not so much rides, it's more attractions. So, hello over there on Rumble. If you guys want to make a little noise, go ahead. Use your emojis. And what can I tell you? We have got the real Super Bowl going on this year on Saturday, when I will be watching it on the Bilderberg Group Network. I'll be the only person who'll be able to see it. Hello, Saber, and hello, Snail. It's good to see people here hanging out. We love you all, and so let's get on, shall we, with this interesting and perhaps I would call strange story of a man who just, you know what? You hold on to something long enough, it'll be worth money again. Someone invested $8 in this ticket back in the 1970s, and here we go. The ticket is back. It has now got the buying power of about $140. It's crazy.
California, the price for the highest daily pass increased to nearly 9% to $194. Parking at both locations has gone up with a $5 increase in Orlando, though the price of basic.
Now, the lowest price at this, hold on. Sorry, I had to silence my assistant from a popular company whose name I won't use so I don't set yours off. Disneyland, the very cheapest ticket to get into Disneyland, now I'm supposing this is probably just Magic Kingdom, with no accelerated access, is $104 for the California one. And you have to get there first. So Disneyland crazy making will cause problems, will make you insane.
Tickets and date-based passes will remain unchanged.
So the price at Disneyland can vary a little bit. When it's in season, it costs more. What can I tell you? Florida,
my name is Holly Arnold. I'm the administrator of the Maryland Transit Administration. I'm here today with
I don't
Joe
care
Davis
about the Maryland Transit Administration. So let's see. A man uses 46-year-old ticket that costs $8 to get into the Magic Kingdom. 1978 ticket. Jeez. Wow. How many of us weren't even around yet? And this story brought to you by the Archdiocese of Baltimore. You want to go to church and see someone as crazy as Jada Pinkett Smith? Go to the Archdiocese of Baltimore. It's been collecting dust since before I was born, Matthew Abel says in a video. He said he found the golden ticket when he realized that it was never used and didn't have an expiration date. Wow, it looks like he legally talked this way in. Abel said he wasn't sure the ticket would be accepted nearly a half century later. I was nervous there because she started aggressively stamping all over the ticket booklet and then left. The employee came back with a yellow pass to the park, allowing him admission for the day. I can't believe this actually worked, he said in the video. According to the WFLA, a one-day ticket to Disney's Magic Kingdom ranges from $1.09 to $1.64, depending upon the day you go to the park. So, like, if you go there when it's horrible out in the Northeast, which, that's why Disneyland in Florida was built, so people from the Northeast would have a place to go on vacation. If you go there it's going to cost the whole 164. If it's a little horrible in Florida, if it's the middle of August, it's only 100. That's how that one works. And that's just shooting up. The last time I was there was like 13 years ago. This is shooting up like a junkie behind a dumpster on Fifth Avenue. Holy fuck. It was $70 to go to Disneyland when I was there in 2013. That is just 10 years ago. So it has gone up by 50% almost of what I paid. That is crazy. Yeah, $105 is $35 more than $100. So yeah, more than a 50% rise in the ticket price, 50 to 65%. And let me tell you something, Disneyland, people save and plan their whole life to go there, and yet it just can still disappoint and be an absolute disaster. What do I mean by that? You could find yourself just priced out of your own very expensive vacation. It's a shame. It's a problem that happens, but you could spend the $164, walk in there with only the ticket for that day, and you're going to be able to see only the things from the Magic Kingdom, and you might get on 4 or 5 rides. If you go bottom, the most affordable ticket. And rides. I mean, one of the only rides I had was Splash Mountain. That's down till it's rethemed. You know what, Snail? I do. Let me get you one of those. I will send that out right now. I just saw that. Sorry, I'm a little behind. Let me get you one of those, and I'll bring you aboard. Although I must say we have some interesting stuff, and I guess you'll be happy to know we ain't talking about Loki. Let's face it. Welcome to all of you who joined this show over the over our Loki coverage, and that upload did really well. Right now, though, after achieving monetization, I found out a little thing that they like to keep in their back pockets for us. It's called choking off your videos, and I am not getting the kind of traffic I used to from YouTube. They are just a little bit upset that I'm making money. I guess they gatekeep you before and after you reach monetization. And that's why, like, tweeting out the stream, very, very helpful. It'd be something I would appreciate. But here we go. We have a First Amendment lawsuit in Florida against Disney, and it was thrown out for what's called lack of standing. You may have heard that a lot around the time of the last presidential election. Here's lack of standing. I sell you my car. 2 years later, you paint it blue. I sue you for painting my car blue. Now, I can sue anyone for any time and any reason in this nation, but if I walk into court and I say, Your Honor, this man painted my car blue, and he's going to be like, what in the actual hell? And he's going to look over at that guy and he's going to say, did you paint this man's car blue? And that guy, with no lawyer, because you'll win, is going to say, I painted my own car blue. Here's the bill of sale from this individual. They don't any longer have a say in the car. And the judge will turn back to the first person and go, did you sell this car to that person? And the person pulls out the original receipt and goes, well, I'm the original owner, Your Honor. So I think I should have some say. I bought a brown car and they painted it blue. The judge's going to be like, get fucked. You have no standing in this lawsuit. It has nothing to do with what you're doing. It's just a ridiculous idea that you could sit here and try to tell people that you can still have a say in the color of what your car is painted after you sell it. That's no standing. Or you don't like your gardener's best friend and you sue their best friend for being friends with. Just, you could sue anyone for anything, but you have to have something that can go to court. Then the other thing is, if you have standing, you will be allowed to stand trial. But the first move by any lawyer, and if you ever have to, God, do not represent yourself in court. The person who represents himself usually has a fool for a client. At least run this by someone who's qualified legally. But the first thing any lawyer does in any lawsuit, if they're on the defense side, is as soon as they say, all right, this trial has standing, it can go forward, you stand up and you say, I move for a mistrial based on no grounds for relief. And that means that even if you win this lawsuit, there's no way to make good on the damages. So why do it? And that gets like 2/3 of all lawsuits thrown out. It works. You hire a lawyer because they know this stuff. I sent it in the group chat, but I will look in snail mail right now. I think I could find it while I'm doing this. But yeah, so lack of standing means that you are not in a position to make Oh, you know what, Snail? It did not go through. I just hit try again. You should have it now. Give it a shot. Take a look. Otherwise, I am reproducing it and sending it to you at your regular address. And hey, look, I don't have to do that. Look who's here. Hey, what's up, buddy? Let me beam you right to the bridge. Ladies and gentlemen, I have a co-host this morning. It is my friend. Hello, Mighty Snail.
Hello.
Hello. Look at that. Look at that. Look at that avatar, ladies and gentlemen. Please tell us what we're looking at here. It's amazing.
We're looking at an ATST mashed in with a power armor from Fallout and a minigun.
It kind of reminds me of if Jesse Ventura had a suit of armor in the movie Predator, the first one, but he just has the minigun and he's just like blowing down, like basically deforesting the place with bullets.
He should have had one. An armor.
He should have had the armor. It would have helped him out. I'll
like
tell you
Running
this. Man. You know, that's such a funny name for an Arnold Schwarzenegger movie because he had an injury weightlifting and I think he broke his leg and he can't run. Arnold can't really run. So it was like, if you watch him, and Phillips Gaming, he was just hanging out with us over at Teag Odysseys. Philip, if you want to hang out for a while, I threw you a pass. I just first and longed it to your ex. It's good to see you out there. And by your ex, I don't mean your ex partner. I mean your Twix, your Twitter ex. Have you made the adjustment to calling 2024 and calling X not Twitter? It's become interchangeable.
I call it by something German. Twitter.
Very carefully tell us what that means.
I just take Twitter and X, and then I pronounce the X as an S, because Twitter in German is I think it's transgender or something. So that's what I called it.
All right. Well, the universal translator on YouTube will probably still be looking for like weird words. I tried to put up a video the other day, and now that I'm monetized, I get all sorts of insane warnings. I use the term Disney Civil War, Peltz versus Iger. YouTube sent me a little note. They're like, we're not showing anyone this video because you're interfering with the election. And I was like, the fuck? But a man, this is not much here to it, but a guy had a Disneyland ticket from 46 years ago, the Florida one, right? Disney World, right? He had that ticket. They used to just like sell you a ticket and they didn't think about legalese. Like in America, like a movie theater ticket, if you get a paper one on the back, it's filled with tiny, tiny script in a tiny, tiny font. And it says stuff like, don't throw soda or we can throw you out. If you if you yell fire, that's against the law unless there is one, we can throw you out. If you smoke cigarettes, if you piss on the floor, you know what I mean? Like you can't do this. Yep. If somebody throws an object and it hits you, you chose to sit there. You know what I mean? Like all sorts of legalese. So I'm guessing in 1978, and Disneyland is struggling, and Disney's not doing great in 1978 anyway. The entry to the park is now $164. Do you know what the ticket cost in 1978, some 46 years ago?
$8.
$8 fucking dollars.
Yeah,
that is
I got
insane.
It right.
That is fucking insane. Well, you've been listening, but that is fucking insane. $8 is insane. And there's one thing that our taxes pay for. It's the Bureau of Labor Statistics, and let's see how they've done with this money compared to what everyone else does. Because the Bureau of Labor Statistics provides you with a calculator that calculates for inflation, and I like to use it to see what's going on. So here's the calculator. I guess I can share it. Let me see if I can. We'll do the calculations here with you live to see. Now, a ticket at Disney, that is now hundreds of dollars, $164 going towards going towards 200. It's north of $100 by a lot. You'd have to go there on the worst, most sweltering day of the year. So the ticket is from 78. So that's it. And the last thing we have any info for is December 2023 because January ended hours ago. Happy February, everybody. Oh, let's see. So $8 in 1978 is has the buying power of $39.26. That's inflation. So the $8, that to me makes sense because like cigarettes are like say $14 in America, and they were $1.50 in like 1978, maybe
14
$1.20.
bucks.
They're about
Holy moly.
$14. Yeah, it'll stop you from smoking. It's not a real
Get
number on
yourself a native
smoking.
friend and get some from the rest.
If you had a native friend. Yeah, what can I tell you? I am my own native friend. I'm up to three. I surged last night, guys. Congratulate me. I'm now 3.5% Native American, up from 1% just 6 short weeks ago. If I keep trying, I'll be a full-on American Indian by the end of the end of 2024. So don't trust your DNA test all that much. But it will nail relatives right. The parents that it found for me, we took the more sophisticated tests. They are my father. He was. You know what I mean? That's in the words of Yoda. But welcome everybody.
Uncle Jack, you are.
You know what? So I think Doomcock said this. The voice of Baby Yoda when they do it should possibly be William Shatner. How funny would that be?
You must do as I say. Jedi mind trick.
I love the imitation. Or how about this? We make him sound like President Kennedy. I believe that the Force is a powerful ally. Yeah, powerful ally is the Force. Just President Kennedy back. I mean, he was like the first president to regularly be on TV in America, where most people mostly had TVs, right? In fact, TV is such a big fan. People love it so much that, like, you know, there's all sorts of like worries that people are going to get addicted to it and fall into some like other world where like time and space don't apply because, you know, you've got this TV machine.
Yeah,
But,
that's called Twitter.
Yeah. For every generation, they have had a new and more dangerous and less intense way to engage with media and to engage with what's going on. My grandmother, whose birthday it would be today, she would be 106 years old. That would be quite a feat, but she made it to 94, man. Well, she made it to 94 and change. I was very happy to have a grandmother for a really long time, and she was sweet as could be. She was totally from Queens. She sounded like Fran Drescher when she talks. Like, oh, God. Like when she would see something terrible on the news or something she didn't like, she'd, oh, God. It was weird. Yesterday, I was hanging out with a bunch of people from across America, and they kept saying that my speaking voice, that I sound, quote, exactly like a certain former president from Queens. And I'm like, really? I think, you know it. Really? I guess the accent's the same, but hey, Tim, what's up? It's good to see you. Yeah, hey, right, Philip, it worked for Elizabeth Warren. If I am 3.5% American, she's a 0.5% American. Would the math make me something like 900 times more Native American than Elizabeth Warren?
I don't know.
So she's a Native American, but it's like she's got a cloaking device. She's cloaked. We can't really see it. But that's the you know, that's a long. The sad
I do have a little story for you about that. There's a YouTuber.
You know about being Native American and stuff. Go for it. Or
I
having that
do,
particular strain of DNA because it's
actually my
else
strain
where
of
you
DNA
come
is
from.
South American because it turns out that
No
Greenland
shit.
Eskimo is South American. Who knew? Anyways,
Who? What?
yeah, who knew?
All I can say to that is you probably are talking about people hugging the coast north following a fishing harvest of sorts. And that's how people
far as I
end up
remember,
there.
From South America, they migrated, Aztec mostly, in a swastika pattern. That's how
Let's
they
not use
migrated.
that word. Let's use a Hiltarian pattern, a Hilteran pattern. Let's not use the S
That
word
sounds
too
worse.
much. Yeah, No, if we say Hilter, we're okay.
I think we should take back that other word. Well, I'm not going to mention it again. You all know what I mean.
Yeah, no, we know
Okay.
the familiar pattern of the failed mid-20th century German regime. How's that?
Oh, even worse.
You know what? It is worse. You know what? I hope that the chat enjoys this, but like to be able to address any topic I want, what I try to do is I try to stay away from the bad word counter. And I found out there is a bad word counter because I said Civil War, and they're like, and this video can't be monetized now either because I said it. They're calling that election interference. Just any excuse not to show your video to people. So you guys are YouTube on this one. I'm counting on you. If you could tweet out the stream and let people know that I'm on, it would help. I'm being throttled just a bit. Now, I can't complain too much. I have all of you, and I'm grateful. And like I said,
Imagine all the
130.
history channels out there.
I think if you call yourself a history channel, you're okay, but YouTube does not understand that this is an entertainment channel for like the last year. Everything has been labeled entertainment,
But
and
we
I've
also bring up
changed it at
history.
its core. But if you go on Social Blade, you'll see that my channel says it's for some reason YouTube thinks it's music. Well, I have to fight that and everything else. Like they're only showing me to people who would listen to music. My growth is truly organic. That's why when I'm on, I get such great hang times from my people, my fellow captains, the people in my part of my audience, all of you who grace me with your time. Like you hang out for a good long time. It's really flattering. So while the number might be a little lower, I mean, I'll take that hit. The fact of the matter is, we're gonna have a worthy conversation here, and we can go from the ground up and take a look at things. Well, I have enough knowledge to research this. That's what I'm trained in. So when these stories come up, we can do things like find out that Disney $8 is now worth like $39-40 in the real world. So in 1978, if you had $8, you had $40 now, which makes sense. It's 4 packs of cigarettes then, it's 4 packs of cigarettes now, maybe 5.
Well, still, you also have to calculate how much does it take now for people to get a house, for people to buy food, because
That's what this
wages.
inflation indicator does.
No, because wages have stagnated pretty much all over the Western world. It didn't follow inflation. It didn't follow the increase in food prices and gas prices and all that. So wages
Right, and salaries stayed pretty flat too, because you need 3.5% increase a year or you fall behind.
Yeah, and they didn't quite match up. So back when your parents, they could get a house for, I don't know, one person's salary, right? And he could feed 2 children and a wife. Today, you need 2 people for an apartment to pay the rent. Of course, depends on where you live and all this and that, but wages didn't follow. So the inflation is I don't know if you call it inflation anymore, but it's gotten worse.
Stagnation works with the inflation. The bottom line is we can't calculate your opportunity to get the $8. And to make $8, you got to spend. To make $40, you got to spend 10. You know what I mean? Transport, gas, insurance on your vehicle. So you start each day with a nut to crack. You know what I mean? And you're not going to do it. You're not going to do it taking surveys all day. And if anything goes wrong, like God forbid what happened to me, a tooth falls out. That could be for a lot of people. That's like cataclysmic, and you could get really, really, really. You'll either put up with a lot of pain and be miserable. And think of that. Your opportunity cost there is pain is free.
Well,
I did money.
I did have 2 root canals done today.
Oh God, I hope you're okay. I hope you're doing good stuff. I had a tooth extracted last week, and I feel so pissed. I have the tooth; it's perfect. It rotted in from behind. The bone the bone in my jaw went out, so they had to fill it up they had to fill it in with freaking concrete. And then they'll give me an implant in a few weeks. So it's just like, that's fun. While the guy's like troweling concrete into your mouth. It's like, I feel like the Horta. It's like, it's still, it's like, pain. Hey! You know what? We've been graced by another person here, a friend of mine. We're going to beam him right to the bridge. Oh, you're going to find out who in a second, guys.
I can't wait.
It's Phillips Gaming. Happy. I guess because you're Phil, you were hung with the fact that the results of the Groundhog's Day outcome. How are you feeling, Phil? Hello.
Very well. Okay, adequately.
Adequately. You excited for the return of Star Trek Discovery?
Hell no.
I'm just whipping him up and giving him some emotional coffee. What do you think of this?
I sense emotion in that guy.
I love Philip. Philip, have you met a Mighty Snail? He's another one of my co-hosts.
I'm not sure. Have we met?
No, but enchanté, mon ami.
Okay, so since you don't know, I have worked as an extra on Star Trek Picard Season 3 as a Vulcan So
Yeah.
there you go.
And also is a very entertaining personality of his own over on YouTube here on YouTube. And for those of you on Rumble, he's here on YouTube. You can find him. Yes, you can buy him and bring him home.
So every time I have some complaint about Picard, I go to you. Just
no,
you.
he's not the
not for season 1 or 2. I will not take credit for that.
Well, I have to. I have no contact to anyone else.
He'll take credit for only season 3.
No, and 1 and 2.
The weird thing about Picard, and Philip didn't write this one, I'll say this. This one's on me. The weird thing about Picard is that it didn't make sense. They knew what they had to say to get you to come. They're like, this season is nothing like seasons 1 and 2, which in fact didn't happen. So you start tuning in and you're like, all right, season 1 and 2 didn't happen. Good.
I find that illogical.
Then well, the thing is, by the middle of episode 2, like they start reconfirming events from seasons 1 and 2. And making stupid mistakes like leaving Picard as an android, which didn't work, just doesn't work for me. I don't feel like I'm watching Picard. It's like Robot Ghost of Picard.
They could have fixed it with Q. Like, hey, all right, snap his fingers. All right, you're human again.
That would have reestablished the stakes, and it would have been great. But instead, I feel as a fan slapped in the face by the fact that they brought him back at the last minute. So you could have brought him back at any time. You could have brought him back at any time, and instead you bring him back at the last minute. I just didn't like the way it was done.
Imagine this one: Q shows up, right, and he watches Picard in his face, and then slaps his face so it falls off as a robot, and then he winks at the screen, and then snaps his finger, and everything is back to normal.
What they could have
stuff happened, and he turns to the camera again and goes, "Gotcha."
We have had two.
Everything is saved.
Hey Ray, what's up, man? You know what? Here's the deal. We have had 2 Q snaps already. We had a season-long snap in season 2, and then he snaps his fingers again at the end of season 3 after everything's over, and he doesn't even make him back into a human. And all through the show, like. In my opinion, Picard was made into a robot so that he wouldn't be a white male. He would just be a robot of a white male. But people are really istophobic towards the robot. Like, they hate the robot. They yell at the robot. They blame the robot for things that, like, Picard himself did. Why people hold the robot accountable for the actions of Picard is beyond me. Because he dies in season 1, and this is just... They had an extra robot ghost body, and they uploaded his mind to it. It's just a robot ghost upload. Source.
You failed to see my brilliance here. That is the exact reason that I can blame Phil for anything that happens in season 1 and 2.
Because this is only season with a robot ghost.
The clone of Kahless from DS9. Like, he might not be Kahless, but he represented Kahless.
Mm-hmm.
And you know what? Philip did put in a good effort, and like, let's face it, the Romulan, he was in probably the highest quality scene of the whole show. He was on Metalis Prime, the Halo kind of world. I think it had a Halo, but for that time, while I have problems with different aspects, it looked and felt a little like Star Trek because of the quality of that location. That was their best location. They didn't spend a whole lot of time there, but that was their best location. And, whatever. Sneed, the drug dealer, he's the source of a lot of controversy on this channel. You could tune in another time for that one. We'll stay away from that. But yeah, bait and switch has been like the Star Trek Discovery mantra. They bait and switched. Even the episode titles were lies. Like on the episodes, People of Earth, we never saw Earth or its people.
People from Earth,
they almost made everybody... Instead of Vulcans, they almost made us Ferengi.
Are you saying that when you did the production gig, they weren't sure exactly which group of aliens you'd be, and it was?
I'm not sure at what point they made a change, but originally the lead Vulcan, Kryn, they asked the actor, like, "Hey, you want to be on Picard, and can you play a Ferengi?" They asked him to be a Ferengi. To be actual brothers with Sneed.
Right, which makes more sense. It totally made that they confused you while they were confusing you was my problem. So anyway, go ahead. I'm sorry. This is fascinating.
I found out this because I saw an interview with the actor who played Kryn.
Latino guy.
Yeah. who's in like
he does a good job, in my opinion. I felt he did a good job with what he was given, in context, with what he was given. This Ferengi walks up and rolls up on Raffi. Raffi relapses on eye heroin from like one of the video games. I think it was like they said it was from Halo, but like in this reality, you shoot heroin into your eye with a red flashlight. That's the only way I can put it. So she does the eye smack, and she's on the floor with tunnel vision, seeing like 2 of everything, and some things happen.
Why would you do it if it makes you feel bad? Like most drugs people take is because it makes you feel good. Like I don't get it.
Why not ask your replicator for the cure or the non-addictive version of the drug, like with alcohol?
Narcan.
It's like, oh, you got to, yeah, exactly, or like whatever, like computer, give me synthetic methadone. Got to get off this synthetic eye meth, synthetic eye methadone, to get off of this eye smack that I'm on. But
there's already something like that.
Narcan.
Katum. It's from Asia somewhere. I think it's Thailand. It's a plant.
Put it in your eye?
No, but you can use it to get off opioids, and it's non-addictive.
There's a couple of things now that they say can get people off opiates. So there's hope. But that one was a strange drug. It was very sensational the way they used it. It was a strange turn of events to see the music it the way they were. It was just, and someone said it was from either like Mass Effect or something like that, or Halo. If anyone out there in the chat knows, just throw it in there. But
Mass Effect.
It's from Mass Effect. All right, so the eye smack is from Mass Effect.
When are you going to play that?
I don't know if Philip wants to answer this or not, but like in like actual hour time, from the point you become a Vulcan to the point that like action, how much time do you have to put yourself in the mindset of being a Vulcan? And my question would be, do you develop a backstory in your mind to control your character? You know what I mean? To understand him?
Well, production didn't give us any context, or we didn't see any script because I was just a group of us were just extras. We weren't like cast. So we didn't see the script. Did an assistant
director give you like an orientation or something?
No orientation, no script, not like this is the planet you're on. It's like just like show up, you're a Vulcan, here's a gun.
Did it go beyond? So you're saying it went beyond secrecy? It was like very last minute-ish, is the way I'm getting it. You don't have to.
It's kind of common on a lot of sets for the background, the extras, to like be not given a lot of context or told what's happening. Sometimes it depends, but sometimes they'll like go through pages, but it doesn't happen often. And we're just throwing in the scene and like just told like actual actions what to perform. Like, all right, you're gonna do this and this and look this way. It's about it.
That's interesting. You would think that they would at least orient you, about what you're gonna do. It's like, okay, you're a hostile. Like we're making you up into like, because you wouldn't have known if they hadn't told you, and it wouldn't have affected how the character acted, because in New Trek, people are out of character. Your Vulcan is a criminal Vulcan. Did you have to tell yourself I'm a New Trek Vulcan? I mean, first of all, were you flattered to find out you would be one of the biggest science fiction races in the history of television? Because I think a lot of us would. Yeah, that's like, a day of fan. Like people might pay money themselves to be that.
I went out of my way to be on this. Like, I booked the Airbnb to stay the night somewhere, and it was a long distance travel for me. Like probably like from where I live, the set location was about 150, 160 miles from where I live.
You're not going to make that in less than 2 hours and 20 minutes of ideal top speed driving. So yeah, you got to stay where the work is. So in other words, like you kind of even sacrificed. You wanted this. You wanted to be able to say Star Trek.
Yes, I really want to be on this. So I had to go through lots of steps. Like I had to do like 3 or 4 COVID tests to be honest. Yes,
that's reasonable to an extent, considering when the production took place.
Oh yeah, they filmed in my scenes in October 2021.
Oh, okay, I get it.
Yeah, let's not rabbit hole on that. So anyway, yeah, so they were being extra careful, cautious. We'll leave it at that. I just got over the nasty son of a bitch myself last week. This year's isn't as bad. It wasn't as bad for me as previous years. It seems to be an annual rite of passage though now. Fucking hate that shit. But all right, so they tested you a bunch of times, and then now they have this population of people who's isolated and COVID free. You know, you can do that with like 60, 120 people. Um, and they just what did you do more than one character, or that was it? You were the Vulcan security guy. And for those who don't know, we have in Picard season 3, I guess the best way to put it is a Vulcan Ferengi brother pair running a crime ring. And I'm adopted, and even I found it dumb.
Yeah, it doesn't seem logical for them to be like brothers. Maybe acquaintances, business partners, okay, but like refer to each other as brothers. That seems
you could have. You know what? That guy was a good enough actor with his lines and what they gave him. He was good enough to have had a better story. Like he's just like, he was my brother, and they're like, what are you talking about? You know, like because obviously, you know, like the different species, and he's like, you know, he tells the story about how like they grew up in power together or whatever. It's just the same usual dark stuff. Like because the Federation's the bad guy anyway, I would have been like, in the orphanage for Federation, the orphans of the Cardassian War, we were like brothers. You know, something a little more than just like, oh yeah, well, you know, you say, you know, your friends are your brothers in this world, or whatever it might be. It's like, who are you to define brotherhood to me? Was basically the only thing they gave this guy to work with. He like defiantly said anyone could decide to be anyone else's brother. To which I say, we are all brothers in a certain sense, but it didn't. So we have a Vulcan crime ring, which just essentially doesn't make sense. So I mean, did you approach it like being a Romulan, or did you just went out there and did what they told you? What else can you do at that point? I guess, right?
I guess just kind of like a Romulan. Just yes, it's not like how Vulcans normally act. But like I gave examples before that there were
well, the Vulcan
criminal
himself,
Vulcans, like that female that was partners with Quark on DS9.
Yeah, Deep Space Nine is the is a fertile ground for a lot of the stuff that the New Trek people seem to draw on. I don't think they look back on Star Trek with a lot of love. It's like, what was the most successful show? It was this one. Okay, watch the episodes.
And there was another example. I was watching DS9 recently, and there was a Vulcan assassin that was a serial killer Vulcan that used it. I don't know if you remember that episode. There was a serial killer Vulcan who hated seeing people smiling in pictures.
Oh, that's great.
And he used like a transporter rifle gun to transport bullets through walls and assassinate people that were smiling.
I gotta say, I like the cut of his jib. Yeah, you know what? They tried to hand wave this away in Picard season 1. Picard dies. He dies making no difference. He's on that planet. I guess the only way to explain it, and you weren't in this one, so I guess you could talk about it too. And Snail, I don't know if you saw it, but in Picard season 1, they find a planet of Data-like robots, and in that world, those are the only kind of robots that really work. And of course, the Federation won't make them because the only people who can make these robots badly is the Federation. And so the Federation only makes them badly. The entire Mars colony is made up of robots, but we don't use the A word anymore. Don't call them androids. They're synths now. We've changed the terminology. Don't ask me where that came from, why they use it. It doesn't
Fallout.
It's, you know what? It's so non-Star Trek. It's so non-Star Trek to call them synths. You know, these people have shown again and again they don't know what they're doing. Their design language is off from Star Trek, and really they just have a Trek aesthetic. But in this, a highly specialized Bond villain like Vulcan criminal is stretching it, but works. You know what I mean? Like you said, like the guy who's like a serial killer, or someone who was like a sniper, a specialist, someone who had some sort of advanced mission. Someone with a dash of Romulan blood. They did that with Saavik because they wanted her to do something of a heel turn later. I think that the Star Trek 6 story was already in consideration when it was one of the possible sequels right after Star Trek 2. They had some of the idea already. So I mean, like a Vulcan criminal with some abilities, or a very specialized thing like an assassin, that works. But these were Vulcan street level drug dealers and toughs. It was hard. I mean, you did make a good excuse for it, but it's not really very Star Trek-ish to have Vulcan street toughs whose thing is they're just on the street and they're tough. I had problems following it. You have something for us now.
I do. It's from Mass Effect, and I want to judge. I'm going to turn off the sound.
Turn off the sound, yeah.
And I'm going to play 4-second increments.
Yeah, 4 is fine. That'll work great.
Yeah, okay. So here we go.
I'm guessing this is our eye drug. Very good.
And of course, this is what happens in Mass Effect, and people say that they took the scene from this.
It's looking very much like it.
And further on, it looks like this. So you get the idea. I haven't watched season 1 or 2 or 3 for that matter. I will not subject my mind to that.
Oh, it's a show, not just a game?
No.
The
Mass Effect
game was
is a
around
game.
before the show.
I know about the game. I didn't know it was a show. Okay.
No, it's not a show,
It's
but
not.
it's becoming a
That's-
show. They're talking about it.
That's a cutscene from the game.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
It's
I
and by
played
the
it.
way, it is a good game. I've watched other people do playthroughs of it. I bought it. I have a capture card, and I'm going to start streaming playing it. I just have to find a time where I can do it. And I think maybe this weekend I'll probably do it a little. I have to I have to get like a setup where I can face my TV and move one of the computers over there with a microphone so I can do it. But I did download the other. Ooh, whoa, what's going on? We have the
Deception.
infinite. Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah. So at any rate, in your episode of Picard, you kind of mix it up as a street level Vulcan enforcer, and the Vulcans aren't necessarily 3 times as strong, but we don't know what's happening because Raffi's tripping. Now here's some stuff that has nothing to do with Philip. Fast forward 4 episodes. Everybody's been having an online fight, and I got into it with some people too. That what is going on in this sequence that they have in episode 5, like 3 episodes later, where Raffi and Worf come to terms with the events of how they met. And Worf says what we all knew, that it was an honorless kill of Sneed. When he deletes Sneed, he's doing it himself. He is part of it. He's part of the deletion team. What it is he goes in there, and your character and the other security character, you're fair game to Worf. You're weapon-holding baddies, right? He can fight you guys and delete you guys, no problem. But Sneed is only nominally armed. What they did was they nail his hand to a table with a penknife. I think it's Raffi does it, right? And then like while she's blown out of her mind on ice smack, and then like she goes into like this swoon. What's called a swoon. She falls on the floor and she's looking up, and we see tunnel vision and everything's red. It looks very much like what you just showed us. And she can't know what's going on. So Worf is like looking at himself basically in the mirror, and he's like, what have I done? I have murdered. I have red rummed an innocent Ferengi for no reason. And I think Raffi says it, it's like, you just Sneed is dead. And he's like, you were incapacitated and needed help. So that's arguably true. But the person who validates it is Raffi. And we saw her condition. So it was just like, what? You know what I mean? Because she has tunnel vision with trails and everything is filtered red. And she's like, no, you had to step in there and save me. And this guy was standing there with like basically a fountain pen, in shock, stumbling in pain, and Worf just slices his head in half. He doesn't even decapitate him properly. He sort of slices his skull in half, like diagonally with his batholith. It was a gross kill.
I like gross kills.
He was just in the moment. I think he didn't think it through. He just did it.
The thing is, yes, that could be an explanation for why Worf honorlessly kills a wounded, defenseless, and really non-weapon holding enemy. Like if they had gave the Ferengi a phaser, they're in totally different territory. I don't know why they don't think of any of this stuff. Just give the guy anything and call it a weapon. It's Star Trek. It could be anything. take a empty pack of cigarettes, spray painted silver, and put it in his hand. You call it a weapon. No one's gonna know. I'm being out. No one's gonna fucking know. Just give him some kind of weapon.
Yeah,
Instead,
maybe one of those
weapon of slow
antique
deletion.
things, like an antique revolver or something.
you know
Because he's a
what?
collector.
That would have been interesting. That was the front for their iSmack business. Was they sold antiques and curiosities. So yeah, they had like copies of this show on a USB stick. It said 21st Century Fanatics complain about the future. In the future, this is a comedy show about a misguided, insane person, sort of like it is now. Yeah, so Raffi just is in no condition to tell us what's going on, but the show makes her primary witness, and we have what I could only call a deeply unnecessary scene. It's a deeply unnecessary scene where Worf asks Raffi what the hell happened. She tells him, and he's like, okay. And it's like, wait, you were sober, she was tripping. And he's like, it must be as you say. You are female, so therefore you are wise. And they just move on with this like he didn't do anything wrong. And you're like, for the rest of the show, you're like, they were trying to do damage control. I appreciate that they knew that their scene had problems and needed to be fixed. But in their damage control, they were so clumsy that what they ended up doing was putting like a foghorn on their problem. It was just like, we saw it, it went by fast. They could have and should have walked away from it, but they didn't. And so what they did was they circled back to try to do damage control. And instead of doing damage control, like picture this, it's like we have landmines in this area. We've captured the area. It's safe. We need to send combat engineers in there to get out the landmines. And instead, it's like someone drives like a freaking steamroller through. It's like, this will get the landmines, you know? Swatting a fly with a shotgun, however you want to put it. But so their attempt to dig Worf out buries him deeper, makes him look like an idiot, and makes him look really mentally weak. Because, you know, like, I don't know about this, about you guys, but I've never accidentally robbed a deli. Maybe you guys have. But if I were to accidentally rob a deli the way Worf did and like blow away the clerk the way Worf says he did, right? And that deli also sold drugs, so like I was nominally in the gray area. I don't know if the guy smoking crack outside is the person I'd ask. Was what I did okay? I didn't do anything wrong, did I? No! I didn't do nothing wrong, right? It's okay.
Was the crack smoker your friend? That makes a difference.
He's my friend, and what do you call it? I took them home, cleaned them off, and got the crack stems, cigarette butts, and gum out of their hair. They're clean, and they've got a cup of coffee for the first time in 2 years. That's basically her situation, and how she's working Starfleet security, strung out and hurting for drugs. For a little while there, it looks like the hurting for drugs is a front for a deep cover operation. But then when given the drugs and no need to do them, she can't help it and does them anyway. So she's definitely hurt. It's not an act, or she's so deep in character she fools herself. I don't know. But
welcome, Swifty.
Hey, hello. You know what? And honestly, and Matt G, it's good to see you, my friend. I hope that you're having a good time. You guys have, and Mark Harkness is here too. Hello. Klingons have been tossed out of their society in disgrace for trying to delete unarmed Ferengi half his. Yeah, I don't think Worf walks on this one. Let's talk about the Xbox. Once I want to go on once, and then I'll make my tag public.
Oh yeah, in DS9, there's a Klingon who's going to kill Quark. And they stopped him because it was dishonorable to kill unarmed Ferengi. And
exactly. It wasn't cognizant of Star Trek. So at some point later on down the line, someone tells the writers, some interns, like, I've been watching that show like you told me, and that's like, they're not supposed to red rum people outright. And the writer was like, what? And that's called one of the other 23 producers, and he's like, you had Worf pull a dishonorable deletion on a Ferengi. What are you going to do about it? And the answer came back, what? So they're like, I have nothing to work with except that Raffi was there and she's on his side. So like the solution is Super Cop Raffi just happens to be together enough. And I guess that takes us quickly enough after a long kind of, and that's what we do in this show. We go tangential. Let's talk about something a little bit different. Section 31 now coming out.
Oh no!
I have weird feelings about this. I don't know if you can hang around for this one because of what you do. If you have the option to ask out at any time if you get uncomfortable. But I'm going to talk about this movie. I got a bad feeling about the Section 31 thing. First of all, they've already said that they were going to try to do something like a one-day movie release. So Star Trek is not a movie franchise anymore based on that statement and that desired outcome. And they're going to do it with Michelle Yeoh. Let's assume that she's getting all the money. She must be. And it's going to be hell for the rest of that cast. My prediction is that a lot of people are going to get admitted to the Screen Actors Guild by getting to deliver lines on camera and stuff for the very first time in this Michelle Yeoh movie, because she's going to be 100% of all the money. And there's going to be no money to hire a sidekick person of any competence to augment the story. Like, throughout history, we've seen guys who are good actors who, while maybe not totally lead actors, were sort of like really good, like, ingredients, like the straw that stirred the drink. For instance, The Cage. Once you plug in Kirk and Spock is like normal in Where No Man Has Gone Before, you're almost there. But you have the weird doctor in The Man Trap, the first episode they show us. We have McCoy. To me, in Star Trek, you're almost there until you have like all three of those characters functioning, and McCoy coming in as the last member of what we would call our trinity of most important Star Trek people. That's that basically, yeah, and it stirs the drink, right? This McCoy, there are episodes that are built right on him, but for the most part, McCoy sits there and fulfills the role of the pragmatist, voice of the audience, and the most rational part of the human mind, right? Spock is the computing part of the mind, the part of the mind devoid of emotion. Kirk is the leadership and sort of innovative part of the mind, and the executive decision maker. He's ready to make a decision, but he's ready to listen to his advisor. And Bones, back to where we started, rounding out on third here. Bones, born on third, really did hit a triple because Gene Roddenberry nails this character out of the box. He's not overly military, he doesn't give orders, and he only really stands fast on medical shit. He's pretty scientific, and he might be our first character with two different looks in a uniform, because he has like two different uniforms in the same show before anyone else, I think.
I like Bones.
Well, that makes sense for a doctor.
It does.
Like Crusher, she had that lab coat. Remember?
I hate the lab coat now because it covers up Dr. Crusher, who's really good looking and cute. I liked when she would take off the lab coat. But yes, it worked with the character. I'm like, can't she just wear like a scarf with pockets? But yeah. And they did well for a long time with the doctors, because the outlook would be, because they're a doctor, they'd be a little bit older, so you'd get a more experienced cast member playing the doctor. And in Deep Space Nine, they just nail it. Like, the guy's a really good actor. Like, Bashir's just a good actor on Deep Space Nine.
I love him.
The doctor's he's a lot of people's favorite DS9 character.
Bashir, he was too perfect, except when it came to women.
How about when he was exposed as being an augment and we found out he was anything but perfect?
Well, he was perfect. He really was.
I heard he didn't like that aspect either. I think I didn't like that. Like this is why he's so great. Like he's.
I thought it was really kind of, honestly, maybe I'm alone on this one, and maybe I need to watch the character the arc again. But I really enjoyed. Hello, Radioactive. Woo! I really enjoyed. It's good to see you, my friend. Good morning. I enjoyed that aspect, but maybe that's just me. I'll say this, Deep Space Nine's still a mystery to me. Got to really rewatch it. But the good news is there's some untapped Star Trek stories, a lot of which are good, that I still like. During that part of my life, things were just going on, and I didn't watch as much Deep Space Nine. And sometimes the episodes weren't so great. I had a Deep Space Nine rule, in the day. If I saw Garrick, I would stick with the whole episode. The spy, the Cardassian spy dude. Oh, you hang around and see if that one pays off, because it pretty much always did. If I see Bashir, I'm gonna hang in there with it because it's usually pretty good. If I see the child cast, for lack of a better term, if they don't win me over by the first segment, I'm out. If I see we're just going to ship Kira with some space filter again, I might be out too. They do that a lot. They ship Kira a lot.
I
Oh,
really enjoyed
dudes.
when Bashir and Colmini, what the hell is his name? And,
Yeah, Chief O'Brien.
yeah, Chief O'Brien,
Um,
when they were together, they had a good thing going. Unfortunately, it was killed by Bashir being an augment.
I
if I
don't
could
remember that. Was
change
he
topics
Islamophobic?
briefly.
Go ahead.
Oh, they
So I
were.
just
Oh,
sorry.
sorry.
Go
Yeah,
ahead.
go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah,
Well,
we
I
direct
just got this
traffic. Philip
email
first.
because I'm a funder for the William Shatner documentary. You Can Call Me Bill on Legion M. They released a trailer for the documentary here. I put it in the private chat.
Okay. You have a wrench,
So,
by the way. You can put things in the regular
well, I
chat.
don't know if you want me to link it.
Go right
Okay.
ahead. I've got this one though. I'm going to put it in there right now.
Sorry, but you were talking about Shatner the other day, so I thought that was relevant.
This channel is in part based on the fact that William Shatner is amazing. That's part of our mission here. Yesterday we did fantastic, just showing people the original series. There's demand.
It's coming out in March. The actual documentary, but this is the trailer for it.
I have seen William Shatner speak live twice in the last 16, 18 months. The last time was still a while back. We're getting on to a year since the last time I saw him, but he has so much energy. If William Shatner, look in fandom events, and if William Shatner's coming to your town, give it a shot, because what happens is, at least up till now, William Shatner has toured with the Wrath of Khan. So what you do is, and this is amazing. I don't know who's done this, but I've done it twice. This is how good it was. The first time I went all the way to York, Pennsylvania, which is like two-thirds of the way to fucking Ohio from New York. But I went to York, PA to see it. And you see Wrath of Khan in a theater with like 2,000 to 4,000 Star Trek fans. So imagine that reaction, you know what I mean, to every single thing that gets said. People are screaming. People are, it's like when he yells Khan, everyone's like, ah, it's just like the roof blows off. They blow the roof off the theater like 4 or 5 times. Everyone is just sitting there like they're at mass. Then after the movie, Bill Shatner, maybe they give it 5 minutes so you can take a leak, but Bill Shatner just comes out on stage to a great video mashup, and then Shatner himself is fired out of a cannon. William Shatner has like 5 Red Bulls. He doesn't seem to have any script. This is exactly what happens. The curtain comes down in front of the movie screen. They play some Star Trek-like music. The curtain goes back up. In front of the movie screen, there's now a rolling set with a small floor area, with a couch and a love seat and like an end table. So the host sits at the small chair, right next to the end table, and he's got like a small stack of index cards. And Shatner is supposed to be on the couch, but when he comes out, the host is just sort of sitting there, and then the spotlight's on Shatner. They play this great video. Bill Shatner comes out like a racehorse out of the gate. And he's like, hello, welcome. It's great to see everybody. Thank you for coming. And everyone just gives him like a full minute standing O because it's Shatner. And, so the whole place is just then filled with goodwill. And he gets the elephant out of the room right away. Both times I saw him, he said this: I'm honored that you're all here. I'm so, flattered that you would come see me. Thank you so very much from the bottom of my heart. It was an honor to be Captain Kirk. It was an honor to be on Star Trek, and it was an honor to work with my great coworkers, even if I didn't like one of them. And I'm not going to say anything more about that person again. And he didn't. So he wasn't mean, and he called them a really good actor. So just like right away, like taking the high road. And I guess we'll segue into William Shatner here for a moment. Go ahead, Marcel. Say it.
Oh, I just said, oh my.
Oh, you're doing the. Here we go. Here comes the warning: gendered language and unrestrained masculinity. As we rock into the topic of William Shatner.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I've met him. I was telling you, Teag.
Tell the story.
Yeah, he made an appearance at Comic-Con, not the actual convention, but outside at a offsite. He was doing an appearance. I like the guy's in his 90s. I have not met him. I need to see him. So I got my ticket to see him, get his autograph, take a picture with him in 2022 during Comic-Con. That was awesome. Like he autographed my Blu-ray copy of Star Trek: The Original Series.
Oh,
So
how nice.
I have that, and I got a picture
Oh
with him.
God. Yeah, like be buried with that, right?
Yeah.
I passed on the personal meeting opportunities because they were just so absolutely exorbitant. And every year it's more. It was like $500 or $700 for a picture with two people when I saw him at the at the
Oh
convention.
wow, that
And
much?
now yeah, yeah. But you could bring two people. The thing is, in like regular photographs, William Shatner, I think he has like some social distancing barrier so that you can't breathe right on him and stuff. And at his age, who could blame him? But it affects the outcome of your picture. So it's just like, I know I'm going to be kicking myself when we lose him, and hopefully it won't be for a good long time. He's the healthiest 92-year-old I've ever seen. I mean, he bounces around that stage for 2 hours, about an hour into it, after telling these amazing stories one after another. First, he talks about the movie pretty much and gets that out of the way. Tells you all the things you want to know. Yes, Ricardo's muscles were real and stuff.
So here's me
No,
with
we were
Shatner.
never on chat together. Oh, thank you so much. Let's put
Shatner
that up
could
there.
date my grandmother anytime. She's a young 90-year-old.
Mr. Shatner lives with his last wife, who is no longer married to him. But here we go. There it is.
Oh.
And you can see, yeah, he has a little bit of hockey glass. So he's not remote from people, but and that is the same program and photograph that I have. He signs the same headshot. I have that picture framed over on my mantle from when I saw the first Wrath of Khan. He's amazing. Yeah, so there he is, the man himself, our beloved, and you know what? That deserves a like and a retweet from the Admiral. Thank you for sharing that. The great William Shatner. Let's take down the comment for a moment so we can see him. I think he might be big enough to promote himself, and I guess he's been just into it with Paramount Plus. I talked about that, I guess, enough yesterday, but I would just say this: do you, as a Star Trek fan, from a 30,000-foot view, because the last thing I want to do is put you on the spot, and you're allowed to refuse any question, Philip. Don't you think he's their biggest star? Is he the biggest star to be a Star Trek actor? No matter what anyone else might have done outside. Hello, Andy Morrow. Go ahead.
Biggest star, although my favorite captain is Picard, but he's the OG. Right. Like, he's the original. He's the Star Trek actor. Shatner.
William Shatner is the biggest star that Star Trek has ever had. And what you got to say here is, you're not, and if you want to drop your Twitter link in the chat, just put it right in the chat. You have that ability. It'll show up as a link. You can even do it off the StreamYards, just if you want people to follow you. But, and I advise you guys to follow me on Twitter for when YouTube unsubscribes you. They like to take things away from us. And they're really weird. And if you say Civil War, they're going to call it election tampering. And hi, Andy. So yeah, just bizarre. And you got to be on the Orville too. Was that like a different experience?
Yeah, it was so weird because I worked on it twice. The first time it was before any episodes aired, so I was on it, but I didn't know the lore or the universe because it was before anything came out yet.
It hadn't aired yet?
Yes.
So, okay, so you see this new weird science fiction show and you just don't know anything about it, and you're told you're in science fiction show Orville or whatever they call it, and you went there, and from what I understand, you're a Krill, right?
On the first season, no. I was a Sargas 4 civilian, the planet where everybody gets up and downvoted. I was on that.
Oh, the direct democracy. I love that episode. That society.
Majority rule. Majority rule.
Yeah, without doing anything to the anything to the with very well thought out costumes and just very human aliens, like leading right into original series. Like, here's some human looking aliens. They just plain old look human. They look exactly. There is no difference between them and us. Everyone wears a badge, and it's basically like their smartphone. And when you see something, it starts filming shit, and like you up or down vote the action, and then everyone who sees it up and down votes it. And the Orville crew, when they beam down to this planet for first contact, they act like they always act, kind of a little immature and trying to have fun and very much in the moment.
No,
so Lamar acts out a little bit, and he gets filmed, and it turns out that like basically he's like thrusting into like the planet's greatest heroes statue from behind, like jokingly or something like that. If I remember,
he's dancing.
Right, and he gets massively downvoted.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't like that episode for that one reason, because it is too out of what I'm guessing they would do.
Let me see if I can find a screen grab it shows me. I have it on
He
Facebook.
wasn't very military in that one, but here's the thing. Every time they've deviated from acting more or less military and more or less logical, it blows up on them. We've seen it blow back in their face that they weren't being military or observing proper protocol on a planet or something like that. We've seen that come back at them. So there's always a consequence on the Orville. I hate to use this example because not a lot of people are crazy about the character, but the Topa episode. In the Topa episode, they break like 2 laws, and hello, Rumble's starting to wake up and have some people over there. Go ahead.
I don't. I have issues. I have issues with that episode and the episode I worked on too. Season 3, the one with the krill.
Right.
Those are controversial topics.
They are. We won't get too deep into them, but yeah. I guess I'll put it like this. If there's one storyline recurring that people seem to be the most stigmatized about on the Orville, it's Topa. I personally don't have a problem with the Topa character, but I've noticed that they've screwed up other shit both times they've done Topa. The first time we do Topa, it's Topa and only Topa, fully Topa. There's no B plot in that episode. It's Topa all the way through with no plot B. That episode could have used a B plot. They were too into Topa. And in the second Topa episode that's like really built on Topa in season 3 is when they go to the planet where all the female Mocklins are. And Ed and Kelly do like 5 stupid, tactically inept military things on top of each other, and basically are admitting it out loud. And when it all comes down, doesn't Kelly say, "I don't know what's going to happen because of what we did," and Ed just goes, "Oh, we're fired." Right? Because even the show was aware that what they did was dumb. So like both times they'd done Topa, the episode had other problems that get me off the hook about having to really address Topa. But those are like rare, non-great episodes. It's a great show.
So if you have Facebook, here's a link of me on Orville.
Let me open that up. See if I can at least. It should work.
If you have an account on Facebook, I think you can.
I unfortunately do. I just want to make sure it opens up without showing anything to do with who I actually am. I don't want to like mox myself.
He is the Cookie Monster. In real life, he's the Cookie Monster, and in real life, he just speaks very normal. It's astounding.
I speak Swahili. I'm a salt vampire. Let's see if we can't get this to work. Okay, is this just still photograph? So it's the Orville. Still. Okay, all right, cool. I was wondering why the video didn't work. Are you one of the reporters? Oh, is this you?
Right there.
So yes, right there. That's me.
What a handsome fellow Irishman. You look great. So this is you're one of the press in the Direct Democracy episode.
I don't think it's cool press. It's just the public. Maybe we are.
Everyone's got a press-like device. You know what? Everyone's press on this planet in a way, because it's like they have all gone crazy to the point with like social media is like they look like us. They more or less act like us. They're a little flakier than us, but they're like Borg-like in their social media outlook. Like they're really jacked into it. And this one was. I thought that although there were some things about the episode, maybe you could quibble with it. One, it was a Star Trek worthy concept. To be honest with you, it was a Star Trek worthy concept. I'll give that.
It resonated with so many people. A lot of people say this is their favorite episode from that season or the show.
You know why? Because they go exploring to a planet that's kind of like us, where they take a certain aspect of our society, raise it to the point where it's so ridiculous you can't hurt anyone's feelings anymore. You know what I mean? Like these people are so into social media that no one can really truly see themselves fully in it. You only see a little piece of yourself in it, you know, because they're absolutely living in this. If you get downvoted too much, it's like you can't buy a Coke. Isn't that basically? Did I get that right? And you can go to jail.
Like sort of like the social credit score that certain countries are implementing already.
It rhymes with vagina.
So it's not really far-fetched since there are places doing this right now.
It wasn't
far-fetched. I think that's where they got the idea. Yeah.
The thing is, it spoke to a society on Earth and let's throw this in there: a society that would never let you watch the Orville. If those societies if those societies had the Orville, people would start thinking a little more independently and a little more, I want more life than this, because they turn a mirror on a section of this world population, but it's not part of their audience. Like it's pretty impossible for you and I to get to the point where we would see ourselves in a person unallowed to buy a Coke because you fucked up on social media. At least you could get a Coke. You know what I mean? Like in China, like they now have like in some. Well, I said it. Shit. They like on like vending machines. They have facial recognition for biometrics. And God help us if that ever happens here. Imagine if your freedom of speech comes with a strike system. It's like, you free speeched too much for this month. No more soda for you.
That's why I'm worried about, like, I like the concept of electric cars, but I don't like autonomous, like smart electric cars. Like if you're trying to escape from the law, they know what vehicle you have, they shut it off, you're stuck.
That's not a bad idea. I think we can put that on every car though.
Like, I guess horrible. Like for any reason, like they just shut off your vehicle. I think that's bad.
Do you have any idea how easy it would be to delete someone that way?
Well, when you get the car, you have a choice to set the sensor that drives the car and makes the decisions. The car brain has two settings. I don't know if this is still a thing, but it was.
Do you know how easy it is to overwrite that?
Well, even if it is, the settings themselves are a little bit grim. It has delete them versus self-delete in the decision-making process of how to brake, turn, and control the car. It's like, if you put it on self-delete, the car will like accelerate into a tree if it has to spare anyone else. And if you put it on delete them, the car will be like, F them, you know what I mean? And just like, you might have some, I think it's how the car maker gets out of liability. So I'd be surprised if that ever went away. Live watch for Masters of the Air. Hasn't it started? Didn't episode 1 drop? I would have to get Apple TV, but I'm open to getting it. People want Masters of the Air. Why not? Electric cars were attempted in the early 1900s. They failed then and they'll fail now for the same reasons. The battery tech has to get there. And from what I hear, while the battery tech's improved, what we have now is a bigger carbon footprint in a different place. So it's just like trading like visible evil here for like, unseen evil somewhere else of the same proportion or more. Because apparently making the batteries is really filthy.
It is amazingly filthy. And if you could see one of the pits where they dig out, is it cobalt something? Uranium something? Where they dig
cadmium.
It
out. I think it's cadmium.
Or
at least I know that's an important.
It's radioactive, anyways, and they get the lithium from those mines too. So when they pull that out from the ground, if you use machines, it is a 5-man job, but there's not one machine there, and it takes thousands of people to dig all this out, and many of them are not of working age.
Oh, damn. Well, the thing is, I think if it's cadmium, like 95% of the world's cadmium or some crazy shit like that is in Afghanistan. So it's going to be a little rough to work there. You're not going to want to leave the mine area. You're going to want to stay on the factory grounds behind the fences with the guards from China. But that's the deal. Anyway, this guy was Captain Liam Shaw on Picard season 3. And Ray's right. He's on Picard season 3, and his acting's not bad, but I would call this character a disaster and a mess for these reasons. Nothing personal. I think he does a good job with what he has, but I guess the best way to put it, and Philip, you saw Picard season 3. Captain Shaw is an anti-Borg istophobe, right? Best way to put it.
I like the character, but
I liked the performance. I did not like the character. I'll tell you why, though. I'll bring the receipts on that. Okay, go ahead, though.
The whole, well, I guess I kind of agree with that, but I think it's lazy how they just gave him Cisco's arc. Basically, the same battle, Wolf 359.
Right. Yeah.
He lost people. He's traumatized. He hated the Picard as a result. Like, why do you
Right.
have to do the
He
same
hated him too
storyline?
much. He hated him too much. Because I
Whoa.
would have been dismissive, you know what I mean? I would have been dismissive.
Cisco
of-
also hated him, but he kept his cool enough not to like cuss him out or anything.
He was barely restrained on in the conference room of the Enterprise D, where he meets Picard in one of the strangest Picard scenes ever, right? Where Picard gets to play, Patrick Stewart gets to intentionally play a heel, not a person that we come to hate later. But he plays a heel in the first episode of Deep Space Nine, because we're not supposed to be sympathizing with Patrick Stewart's character in that episode. And when Cisco walks in, they film Picard from a weird angle. He's far away and distant, and we're closer to Cisco. And we basically see him from Cisco's point of view. And Cisco, like, he's not a dick to him. He stands there and he receives his orders, right? And he like, but what's the deal? Captain Picard offers his compliments and some pleasantries to his equal in rank, Commander Cisco. And even though they're equal in rank, Picard's got a little bit more jazz because he's a starship commander and because he makes first contact and policy stuff sometimes. We don't realize that Deep Space Nine is going to turn into that at this moment. It's just
They're not the same
space
rank.
station.
Captain Picard and Commander Cisco.
I think they have as many pips because he doesn't have a ship, so as a ground commander, he's called a commander. He can't be
gets
called captain.
promoted to captain, as I remember.
Is it season 2? He becomes full captain.
I think 3 or 4, not 2.
All right, so he's a full commander. Now, in most navies, a full commander can command a ship, by the way, and then they call them captain. And when Cisco is on the Defiant, they call him captain, but that's about the only time because that's in the Navy, captain's a job, not just a rank. So if you're an admiral and you drop down to command a ship, like I'm taking the center seat, Will, like in Star Trek: The Motion Picture, and Admiral Picard sits down there. After that, when they address him, they call him captain. And unless he's not on the bridge, where they call him admiral. But that's real Navy protocol. It's confusing, but it adds to the realism. Hello, ahoy! It's our pal Jeff Wyatt. Hello, Jeff. It's good to see you. We've got some new Trek intel. So, do you want to finish your thought? Do you have a further thought on Shaw? Anyone?
No, I just shared a picture from the production of Cobalt. It's for the EVs.
It's not too terrible. Let's see.
Cool.
I'm taking a look at it. We're seeing a lot of people. We can't tell how old they are. They don't look that old, though. We'll just leave it at that. And they are digging, and it does look like it's pretty barehanded and pretty gross. It doesn't make me happy, and it's not too cool.
I just hope our battery tech
not
improves soon rather than later.
They had one about 20 years ago from Danish University, and for your cell phone at that time, it could keep the charge for a year. You could keep your cell phone charged for a year. That was 20 years ago.
If you didn't use it.
No, you could have your phone on and talk, do anything you wanted. This is 20 years ago, so it's not a smartphone. But the battery would last 1 year. Then you need to recharge it. And that would take about 5 minutes because you could charge it super fast. It had some, all batteries, they have some fibers in it. And when they break, that's when the battery starts to break. And they only recently found out if you put a resin inside, kind of a resin, inside the batteries, these are more stable. So you can run around without these fibers breaking and your cell phone will last longer. Well, the battery will last longer. And some other guy, he used hemp fibers in a battery, and that actually made it keep for a much longer time than conventional means. So there are options. And this is just where they get the cobalt. So electrical vehicles, they're not clean. Trust me. Neither windmills.
The worrisome thing as a person who hopes to live further into the future, because from my perspective, I'm there now, right? I started out at a time different from this. So as a person who's looking to move further into the future, my worry would be, geez, like, what if we can't get the battery? Like, because I have nothing but confidence that mankind in his infinite wisdom will eventually nail this battery tech. But at the same time, in my mind, I'm like, dear God, what happens if we pollute the planet so much before we get to the perfect battery that it won't matter anyway? It might not
I
be the
doubt
right
that will
time for
happen.
mass production of electric vehicles. Like, and what are we going to do with these first generation batteries? Can we recycle the material? Like, we don't know what happens to it. Does it
Well,
get?
you can pull out the lithium and use it for
Yes.
something else. I
Like
don't know
Futurama,
what.
just chuck it into space.
Oh yeah, that's a good
We're gonna
episode,
reach a
by the way.
we're gonna reach a certain point where they're gonna have to start shooting shit into the sun because it's too dangerous to have them here on Earth. I'd say first, can we launch all nuclear missiles at the sun since it won't make a difference?
I think we should.
Yeah, we can, should, and we can, should, and will try to blow up the sun. Like why should Kylo Ren be the only one? Let's see, we're picking up a bunch
And
of
I,
hells. Let me get to you some of these chats. Commander Cisco is an O5, aka Lieutenant Colonel. A Captain 06 is a Colonel. That would make, yeah. In our Navy, that's exactly how it works. And my first ever show, we did Navy ranks versus Star Trek ranks and kind of tried to line it up. But yeah, so O for officer and level 6, because like they have E pay grades too. Like a private, I think is like E1. You know what I mean? Enlisted rank 1. So like that's how it works in our military. But like the famous Captain Bligh was only a lieutenant commander or a commander when he was in charge of the bounty. Cisco hated him, but was what? 4 years? Sure, this is 30 years, and no one bothered giving him proper psych help. Yeah, that's how you get Ben Finney's and Ben Maxwell's. You know what? Honestly, this or Ron Tracy, this was like a real fucked up character. They fucked him up bad. The actor's really good. He's also very friendly. He gives a good interview. He's like very gregarious. And like a lot of successful actors, he sort of has a cheerleading and happy, upbeat personality. And he has no problem welling up some enthusiasm about this Star Trek thing that he's doing. And I guess he doesn't stick around long enough to really know some of these things or didn't watch it all. But here's what we got. In the show, we're going through a problem with dead naming. Dead naming is one of the plot threads in Picard 3. It's that 7 of 9 used to be known as Hansen. Something Hansen.
Annika.
Annika.
There you go. Thank you. Yeah, Annika Hansen. So, because the Borg are our enemy, which may, by the way, I followed this. This is the weirdest thing about New Trek to me is how they make good characters and sympathetic characters by mistake out of who's supposed to be the villain.
Yeah.
Yeah, Shore is supposed to kind of be a heel and redeemed in the end, but they really fuck it up. They really fucked it up because no one thought this through and did it in the right way. What happens is this. We meet Shaw. He's a dick. He plays the part to the hilt. The actor's real good. He's having fun playing a dick. He doesn't like Picard, which is fine. There's a few people who don't like Picard, and it would have been cool if they leaned into the stuff like, I don't see you as even being Jean-Luc Picard, you asshole. But the thing is, they can't because he has to have, Captain Shaw's leading trait is when it's time for him to be a captain, he has a complete meltdown and says, I don't want to be responsible, and cries and turns his ship over to someone else. He does it 3 out of 3 times.
What?
He doesn't.
Well,
Yeah, no. He just.
At
He
least
says,
once,
"I won't take responsibility," and shirks it.
at least once he had to relinquish control because he was like he was critically wounded. He had.
Are you talking about when Amanda Plummer and the Changelings from the Shrike take over?
I think so. I forget.
Yeah,
exactly
he had
which
no
episode.
choice in that one. I agree, he had no choice in that one. But the problem with that was, in all the times that he did have a choice, when he had control, instead of ceding control to them, the way they showed it, they just are in control. The other times that we have control change, it was like a setup with no payoff. And I guess the only purpose of the scene was to denigrate Picard or denigrate Riker, because 3 for 3 times that we change control of the ship, the captain has to talk to the computer, tell the computer that he's willing to turn over control of the ship, name the person who is going to be in control. The computer then asks that person if they want control of the ship. They say yes after giving a Starfleet code. Boop, boop, boop. Captain Jean-Luc Picard now in control. And he's got control of the computer and the ship will listen to him and he's in command. But when the ship gets taken over, the bitch just sits down in the chair and fucking holds a gun on everybody, and that's good enough. Right? Shouldn't she have had to, based on what we saw in the show, she should have had to hold a weapon on Shaw and be like, release computer control to me. And they missed out on what could have been a good scene. No, I won't. And then like pistol whip him a little bit. You know what I mean? That could have been good.
I agree. I think they did, they did it for nostalgia. Like people wanted to see Picard as captain, and that's why they wrote it that way to have Shaw a little submissive to Picard.
But
or,
then we have
Riker.
it in another way where Riker gets his ass ass whipped, and then he has to. Well, anytime anyone relinquishes control, they look like a douchebag. Except maybe the last time where Picard's like, "I've done what I've set out to do. I will now take control back over to you." But he really what happens is you have to like I said, you go through like 3 steps with the ship's AI and turn the AI over to the other captain, or things won't work, right? So they set that up 3 times, and the only thing that happens is it's kind of like the way it's done is someone's getting kicked out of the military. Like they're standing in front of all their comrades, having been judged like a traitor, and we rip off your Starfleet uniform epaulets, we rip off your gold braid, we throw it to the floor, and we kick you out of the starbase. You know what I mean? And that's the context of computer control. So by setting it up 3 times, I would just say, didn't it beg the need to go back and hit it again? When she takes over, didn't she need to kind of hold a weapon on? Didn't the show set up the rules that if you don't get control passed to you by the captain, you don't have control? They set that up 3 times.
Yeah. All right. I guess you caught a plot hole there.
And here's the thing. They fridge a character. They fridge the only... This is how little money, in my opinion, how threadbare the production looked. We have minimal bridge crew. We've offloaded the crew to make the ship more efficient. The dumbest thing you could give is an explanation. 6 for 6 ships have no crew on them in this ship to be more efficient. It's the stupidest thing ever. 5 founders take over an entire Federation ship due to this policy. And the only new character we got to know is named Tavine. She's I guess a Deltan. She's got a shaved head, or she's a Deltan and a Vulcan.
Vulcan.
Oh,
well,
you know
part
this?
Vulcan. Yeah,
she's both, I think.
Because I was looking up stuff on Vulcans on Picard, and she came up. And
Isn't it weird?
She's a Vulcan.
Is she full on with that crazy haircut?
Yeah, they just
I
decided
think she's Vulcan and Deltan.
Why not? Just let
I
there be
assume
a
she was
Vulcan.
both. Oh God!
I want the Betazoid Vulcan hybrid.
The thing
that would be fun.
These are soy Vulcans anyway. It's just so upsetting. Hey, Low Spec, it's good to see you, my friend. I'm sorry, Buddy Hepburn has arrived. Low Spec is here. Low Spec is laptop. It's good to see you, buddy. We have Andy Morrow. Mark Harkness still hanging tight. On getting to your questions. Let's see. We addressed this. Let's see. People are talking about the batteries. The batteries seem to... It looks like we've reached a point where we need to stop with these electric vehicles if the carbon footprint is that big somewhere else. If you're like, to those who champion environmentalism, and I champion pragmatism, you know what? Like, you could get out of blocking a lot less roads if we had a pledge that we would develop the battery technology responsibly while we use like some vehicles with like high fuel efficiency. Throw some solar panels on them too, whatever. Stretch what we have, like, while we figure this out. Because if we destroy the planet to save the planet, we've still destroyed the planet.
Good point.
But when they take over the Titan, now what happens is these founders chase down, beat up, and take over the Titan, which is going to become the Enterprise at the end of the ship. The captain is Shaw. All through this, we've had this mystery. Is there maybe a changeling on the ship? Is there some bullshit going on? And no one trusts 7 of 9 because she used to be a Borg. And the captain is really istophobic towards the Borg. And he keeps doing what we would call, and what the show wants us to believe, is dead naming. Right? So they're calling her Hansen. And he won't let her go by 7 of 9, which is something that goes back to Voyager, right? Don't they decide on Voyager she has to be called 7?
Yes.
It means more to her than Hansen.
She didn't want to be called Hansen, Annika.
One, it was traumatic, and two, it was like less than a third of her life. She was like 10 when she was assimilated. She doesn't want to be Annika because she had to overcome what Annika. Annika, if I have this right, when she becomes part of the collective, Annika exists as a little tiny subroutine inside of 7 of 9, and is all but destroyed. And the memories of Annika feel synthetic and phony, and also make her uncomfortable. And she's more comfortable growing a new personality out of that. A kernel of Annika and a lot of 7 of 9 is the basis of the person, and she just goes by 7 now. Whether or not she should be 7 Hansen is beyond me, but I mean 7 is what she wants to go by. And Shaw is insistent on call. How many times do we go at issue for that? At least 3, right? Humiliating her, being a dick in front of other people, insisting that they call her Hansen, over-speaking her when she calls herself 7, or correcting other people when they say it. He's really stringent about it. Best way to put it.
Yeah, they're going out of the way to make him seem like a douchebag, but people ended up liking him.
The thing is, the actor's real good. So, Motorola had such a huge lead. I think they're a South African company, but they were making like communications gear in the 60s and 70s and 80s, and was like every police force had them, and they had the first smartphone. And I think they were slow to adapt to new technology. They're like, nope, our phone works. And they're like, but it's the size of a thermos. And they're like, nope, our phone works. Like they sold the Gordon Gecko phone.
Same problem with Kodak. Behind. Kodak had developed the first digital camera, but they didn't. Just because, they were the first, but they were not the best by far. And,
they licensed a lot of stuff out, but they didn't license out enough of it to make a profit. And now, like imagine back in the day, like if you had gotten like the new iPhone with Kodak camera, people would be like, "Oh, wow, Kodak, cool, that's a real brand," and they would have had some kind of interest in it. So anyway, just to make a long story short, Captain Shaw is inconsistent for these reasons. He's istophobic. He dead names her. He ends up being really, really super mean to her a few times. Then on this ship, because they have no crew, to be more efficient, the captain has to do security and hands-on transporter repairs. He does both. He's fixing machinery. He's the goddamn captain. It's like Kirk in the Doomsday Machine when he had to pitch in too because the Constellation has no crew and he's stuck there with like 5 guys. So Kirk's getting his hands dirty too. But this is just like the way Shaw runs a ship. Running around with his fucking phaser, blasting away at fucking founders, ultimately losing that battle, and he dies kind of a little bit, making a difference, and he's trying to help, and he's like, I think before he dies, like, cough, cough, thanks, 7, and he dies, showing that he had repented. So you're like, oh, he learned the error of his ways. But they're not content with that. In the last episode, we get a debriefing from Tuvok, and I'll give you a thought on Tuvok in a minute. But Tuvok debriefs 7 for Starfleet. And we get a letter from Shaw. Do you remember that? The letter Shaw sent Starfleet before the start of the events of the series. They say it's before the start of the events of the series.
I don't remember that, but I'll take your word for it.
They name a place that they leave from, and that place that they left from is where Picard and Riker meet them, right? So he says just before. So I don't think he'd run into Picard and Riker yet. And what he says is 7 of 9. He says, Commander Hansen, in her 1 year since leaving Starfleet Academy. So you just like both hands to the face, you know what I mean? Like, because they make her first mate right away. And although she's been on the Voyager, and although she's shown like loyalty to Starfleet, she doesn't have wisdom of like Starfleet protocol to the point we could make her a captain. Like if I was writing a Star Trek show and I had 7 as an important member of the bridge crew, I don't even want her first in command. Don't you think science officer is perfect, like the Spock role?
Yeah, I think she rose up too quickly, even though she does have field experience working on Voyager.
Oh, they shortcut it so badly. Yeah.
Yeah. She shouldn't have been that high of a rank yet. Maybe lieutenant.
Wow.
at most.
Low specs Linux laptop. Yeah, she should like. I would be willing to give her lieutenant commander and jump her up to commander in a year if she was doing that. But this is out of the academy full commander. A year later, she needs to be captain. And Shaw is unequivocal about this. Like, she's a great leader. She's the bestest ever, and all this other fucking bullshit. On and on and on and on. He goes, I think that Hansen is a great officer and should be a captain, and Hansen is a credit. I love serving with Hansen, or more correctly, 7 of 9. She should be only called 7. And it's like, he did this and then kept up a risk-istophobic, vindictive, hate-speaking front. You know what I mean? It's like it was not at odds with the guy we saw after that. Ammonia-fueled engines? I wonder how that would work. Yeah, these stories about how much waste it takes to get the lithium and stuff are frightening and maybe making me think, can you possibly get enough life out of the battery to make up for that kind of pollution? We got to be pragmatic about this. We don't have to extract that much to keep perfecting batteries, do we? Yeah, Buddy Hepburn exactly is right. Like, even if you have like super intellect, if you're Spock, you can't turn captaincy over to anybody in under 5 years. So why wouldn't they just rewind time? They had to stick with the fact that she was part of a poorly defined vigilante group we find out nothing about. Honestly, Radioactive, she had a shaved head, and Tavine seemed to be part Vulcan. And that's what I was going to say about the Tavine part. When they take the bridge crew hostage in Picard 3, in, I guess, episode, is it 8? The Amanda Plummer and her heavies. It's late in the run. We're getting deep in the second half. Amanda Plummer and her heavies take over the Titan. And there's like 5 of them there, and they hold like 15 Starfleet people hostage. They're cowering. The Starfleet people are cowering. They're not exactly brave. And what they do is they waste Tavine, who's like our Vulcan, possibly Vulcan Deltan, but she's a bald chick with pointy ears. That's all that counts. They waste her, and she's the only person we've gotten to know. And it's like fridging to the nth degree. And I found it all to be like really shocking that they would do it, because what they could have done is they could have said to Shaw, if you don't turn computer control over to us, we'll delete your crew. And had Shaw be like, no, I won't do it. And then they waste Tavine, you know what I mean? And he's like, I don't care. And then like they beat him up, and Amanda Plummer is just like deletes like 3 or 4 more people. And he's like, fine, I'll do it. You know, like give him a reason, you know what I mean? And don't just fast forward past the inconvenience of that you've passed command, because there was a story thread there to be had. I don't know, in my opinion. So they kind of sidestepped that. Yeah, I don't know what they were doing with this character. She definitely got fridged. I don't know. Did we get to know any other new characters?
I read she did an interview, the actress who played that bald Vulcan, and she supposedly was just a Vulcan who happened to be bald, and they just said, all right, let's have a bald Vulcan.
They had to push that stupid shit. Like, it's Star Trek. Why confuse people more? She's supposed to be a Vulcan. If the actress is bald, give her a Vulcan wig. Enough people have fucking worn them. So they don't do the greatest job with continuity, and they don't do the greatest job with chain and command and cause and effect.
Yeah, I think she's the first one then. I've never seen one before that, a bald one. Even a male.
Yeah, it confused
Vulcan.
us. If you have an actress who shaves her head and she's totally clean like that, just let her be a Deltan. People are like more ready for it. We have context, but they've recontextualized Deltans into looking totally like humans now. And now like they pulled the old War for Rue with the character that Rebecca Romaine plays, Una. Una was augmented on the Deltan planet for strength and punches down doors and can outright carry a grown dude over her shoulder. Full stride walking. Now, you're a big dude. I don't know. Have you ever picked up another dude over your shoulder and tried to carry them? I mean, or the equivalent, you know what I mean? It's crazy. You would not be able to walk full stride. It's a struggle. You'd have to
full-size guy probably couldn't do that.
They call it a fireman's carry for a reason. You got to kind of wrap the person around you, hold their knees with one arm and behind their neck with the other as you yourself, cross-like carry them on your shoulders. Like, that's the only way to physically do it. The show's default position after they lied to the audience, because she has augments season 1. And then season 2, they say she went out of her way to never get them because she's too good for that kind of thing. So it's just like the show's default position is now that everybody can just like Rebecca Romaine Stamos, if she wants to grab a dude and walk around with him over her shoulder, she's just allowed to do it. It's crazy. It's crazy. Because at the end of the episode, they're like, since she never got like augmented, she's cool. So like, why confusing us with what looks like a Deltan, and when she's supposed to be a Vulcan is beyond me. Just throw a wig on her. I don't know what statement they're trying to. Why it was so important for them. In film school, I don't know a lot about acting, but I took film as a minor in college just to have like something social studies and history related, and if they kept saying everything you see on the screen is something the director wants you to see. And now I'm thinking like in modern movies, like everything we see on the screen is 90% things the director didn't spend 1 second considering.
Yeah, I think that was the rule that used to be. Now it's like, let's just film this shit and get it done.
It's a bummer, but at least you can always say that you played a fucking Vulcan. I mean, you were a Vulculin. There was another show that told me I couldn't use the term Vulculin, by the way.
And I also have a film degree as well, so yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, okay, so you know the like more of what a director would know than an actor from that. I mean, I'm not saying you don't know what an actor would know. It's like you have director training as well.
I haven't made too many films. Like I've made a couple shorts, but yeah, I know like the process.
Would it be safe to say that because of the insights you gained from the technical side of it, you applied them to your acting, and that what helps you do your thing?
Oh, it definitely helped, especially on sets. I knew some of the terminology as opposed to like somebody who's never been on a set, and they tell you, all right, go to your 1, go to your 2, reset, camera up.
What's your 1?
It's your first mark, the first place you were at in the scene.
Okay, so then your 2 makes sense. I can extrapolate. Okay, this is fascinating.
And reset is basically what it implies. Like, do it all again.
Back to 1.
Yeah, back to 1.
So go back to where you started and redo it. And they might say something like faster, more intensity, like George Lucas does.
I hear that, but it's not like the most common thing. But yeah, if you have like a crappy actor or something, yeah.
How easy is it to pick up on whether or not the show's been storyboarded? Just off the top of your head, have you ever noticed the storyboard on set? Don't say the name of the production. Have you ever noticed storyboards on set?
It's not common. I'm trying to think of instances where I've seen it. I might have seen it. I just don't even give 2 cents or 2 thoughts about it. Like, oh, right.
Not part of your deal. You're thinking about lunch. You have a part to play.
Yeah, think about my role, and I focus on the camera and like what setup they have and the lights more.
In the 5 minutes you had between being told you were going to be a Vulcan, I guess you had like maybe 90 because they had to make you over just a little. I guess the ears slap right on there and they give you a little green coloring. I don't think their Vulcans or Romulans have the forehead ridge, so there you go, boom, wig, you're ready to go. A little bit of a, did they had to shave in the ends of your eyebrows, or were they able to work around that?
They overlaid eyebrows. They just put some makeup to try to kind of cover my existing eyebrows.
Because you would look unhuman and have a hard time getting work for about a month after they shaved the sides of your eyebrows. You would have two little toothbrushes over your eyes.
Let's see. On my profile, I have pictures more close up.
Feel free to share them if you want. But this is fascinating. I'm just wondering so when you did Picard, you said you had enough time to think about it for a while. Did you think about just the motivations of the character in that moment, or do you develop a little backstory? It's like, okay, so I'm a criminal Vulcan. How did this happen? Well, how do I get this across in my character? Or it was just like, well, I'm going to go out there, go from 1 to 2, like exactly like they told me, and try to just hit my mark because I don't have enough time and context, and I'm just it's background. But how do you consider it when you get? Because
Can you repeat that? I'm sorry, I was half paying attention.
Okay, sorry. Yeah. All
right, here's a better picture of me.
Cool. Sorry. Present that one, and I'll share it. Or is it in a private chat?
Private.
I got it. All right.
So you could
Okay,
you
yeah,
could
here we
see
go.
that you could still kind of see my eyebrows if you pay attention, but
They did a
the
good job of. They did a good job of keeping you. Yeah, okay, I can see
oh
where the difference is.
that
They did a good
picture.
job of
Oh, I was trying to link the other
keeping
picture.
you employable. This one,
So you could see my real eyebrows there.
but they're
If you,
very low visibility. They powdered
yeah.
them over almost perfectly.
And then they
All
just
right.
put the fake ones on top.
All right, so it's not that hard to make you Vulcan. How long did it take to put on the ears? Do they have like a rack of prosthetic ears, or do they make them just for you?
I think they had a rack for me, but they did a fitting for me a few days before filming.
All
So
right.
I had to go to a special makeup and prosthetics building place in
They were
Burbank.
thinking of Ferengi for you, so that would have been a lot of overtime, I guess. Armin Shimerman in the interview I saw of him was like, "I love the overtime of being a Ferengi."
So yeah, like
Wow,
I went to a fitting,
you're
they
a bitch.
tried it, and that was cool. And
We saw those.
it's I thought it would be simple, like you said, like just slap on the ears. It wasn't that simple. They had to like glue it, put a lot of makeup on it. Uh, it was they had to keep like reapplying the glue and makeup, and it was a longer process than you might think. It took at least maybe an hour. Or
Where are you at with touching your face after they're done? You're like, "Don't touch your fucking face." Is that like the last thing they
actually,
say?
that was an issue because I was telling you, this was like 2021, and everybody's going COVID crazy. So
Right. Oh, you have to
everybody,
have the mask issue. Go ahead. I
yes,
can envision
everybody had to
this.
wear a damn mask, and
But you're putting on.
and
What did they cut the mask off when they were done?
so normally the mask you had to put around your ears. And for me, I couldn't do that because obviously I had the freaking fake ears on me. So they had a special mask for me that I just had to put on. It was a special mask like on the front of my face that didn't go around the ears. And I had to put it, I think it was like around the neck or something. And I just like, it went up and down on my face when I wasn't filming. Oh yeah,
So that's rough. What about
even
scratching your face? Did
yeah,
they give you
even
like a
in
Q-tip and be like, only use this, or?
yeah, I just couldn't mess around with my ears or my eyebrows. And, it's pretty
I think a
crazy too.
lot
Like
of
even in between takes, I think I remember like I had to wear the mask even in between takes.
so they were like just really maximum precautions, for lack of a better term. Whether and people like, we're not endorsing or not endorsing this or telling anyone how to live. This is a thing and an event that happened, and we're lucky enough to have a firsthand witness to the production of a show that we've spent time reviewing, if not enjoying. But yeah, they didn't exactly go by the regulations on Voyager. Harry Kim's brevet promotion was so far overdue. There's something wrong with the writing there. They weren't cognizant enough, like, sometimes on Voyager. And a lot of time gets wasted trying to fix casts. They try really hard to fix casts, and I don't know if they're able to do it. I had wanted to talk more about the Section 31 movie, but we got so many great insights on Picard 3. I think we'll just keep going with that for now, and we can save Section 31 for later. But I have an interview where they talk to Stashwick, and again, in the interview, Stashwick is like friendly and personable. There's nothing wrong with Todd Stashwick. Like, he can act. It's not his fault this character doesn't make sense. Like he knew what the hell they were talking about when they told him, say that you're leaving this planet for this system. And then, like, like, he doesn't. I don't think he even went back to watch the show, because the letter that Tuvok gives to Seven about how she's the bestest ever is from before the events, or right after they run into Picard and Riker at the very, very latest. And he already says that he should treat her better. He's going to stop being istophobic towards her, and that she should be a captain 13 months out of the academy. And by God, they make her one. It's so insufferable.
Not as bad as Star Trek 2009.
I watched.
Oh man,
That was a terrible fucking movie. By the way, this is a good idea here. I would like to see Bruce Campbell as now I guess an admiral, but yeah, Star Trek 2009 was really fucked up. My '09 experience was that I was the first time I saw it. I smoked too much pot, and I went to see it at an IMAX filming. And for whatever reason, maybe because I have like a little bit of a what do they call it? Astigmatism. I couldn't see the screen well enough to get what was going on. So it was just like shapes and explosions moving around with voices that seemed disconnected from what I was seeing. And I was like, it must be me. I can't follow what's going on. It's overwhelming me. I have wall-eye vision. Let's see, 7 of 9 also hated
Yeah, I had a
not
bad
Annika, but
experience.
Annika's parents. Yeah, yeah, I remember that one. I'm sorry. Go ahead and tell me that. Yeah,
Like,
go ahead, Phil.
I was still at this retail place I was working at, and we went as a group. It was like we had free tickets to go see this movie from the workplace we were at, and all my coworkers were there with me as I was watching this abomination, and they thought I was overreacting. My disgust for this film, like people thought I was fucking crazy after watching that movie. After like I didn't like shout or anything, but they were perplexed that I was upset after watching that film.
I can't see how people would find you anything but upset. I'm sorry as I scroll through different formats here to try to get us all on screen in a way that makes sense. Um, uh, Here we go. At least we got your avatar and picture here. It's like and by the way, I agree with this comment. I agree with this comment. This matches. I did see like the three or four episodes where they flash back to her as a kid and her with the parents, and this did seem to sum them up. I would agree, Mark Harkness, from everything I've seen, and I watch most of Voyager now. I have some gaps in it because what I did was I marathoned it and I watched the whole show in about 3 months. So think of how much TV a day that is of just Voyager. So sometimes I was falling asleep with it on, and I'd be like, "Fuck it." So I slept through a couple episodes. Big deal. Um, it was forced and stupid. I agree. Low spec says for stationary application, good old Edison cells. Edison cells, magnesium, carbon salt, water battery. Don't know what happened to that one. I would wonder if they were able to keep the efficiency because all these things do work, but efficiency, like you can fuel a clock off a potato, but like you can't run your home off of it. There's not enough for it to jump out. Like you can't just say throw 30 potatoes onto prongs and run your house. It has to be able to like build up to like a certain amount. So that's, I mean, we have to find a way to like, I guess miniaturization and like increasing of efficiency have to happen. And they might need to do that, like on a like in a laboratory rather than mass producing one wave of vehicles after another, and we learn as we go, like we did with other stuff. Ash vs. Evil Dead. Snail Messiah has a comment. Snail, would you read Snail Messiah's comment? I think you're right for the role.
Then I would add the cast from Ash vs. Evil Dead as deck crew. I meant bridge crew on the Enterprise. El Jefe runs the
Right.
Enterprise, and that cute Latina is the Section 31 agent on board, sent on missions of deletion.
They'd have to have that on New Trek. We can't just have a clean out of the gate story where people make sense.
Well,
Lucy Lawless as number one would be good, actually, to Bruce Campbell.
Mhm. Well, I do think that if we have to have
Why
Section
not?
31, then
If
why not have like an Enterprise situation where they have the Makos on board, the special unit, right?
Can I just say very quickly to this comment? Dr. Solar, in this, if I wanted to have that, I would want Dr. Solar, and even though she's not a Vulcan, Dr. Solar is Worf's girlfriend and the Q's girlfriend. She plays several roles on Next Generation and in Voyager. We see her a few times, but she I would say her with the Romulan ambassador from Star Trek V, even though she's not quite a Vulcan. That would be, I'd like to see that. Oh my.
Oh, I just found out that Bruce Willis was on the Orville.
What?
How long? They
He
got
played-
him before the aphasia?
Yeah, he played Grugan.
Okay.
I was unaware of this. Did he just voice a character? It was like the way Norm did it.
That flower thing. That
Buddy,
Cassius
is this, if this
sent.
is true, that's buddy, if this is true, that's very interesting. I'll have to take a look. That makes sense. We see we might see him bald male Vulcan. I think he's like a priest though. That's
Let's see
good.
here.
Andy,
The Rock was on Voyager.
as basically the Rock. We've seen worse sins. What's this? Is this the Voyager cast now?
There's some wrestlers on Enterprise too, I heard.
Bruce Willis.
Yippee-ki-yay.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
Now we
Marina
know.
Sear, this is in this episode too, so they confer with a bunch of people. So this is older. All right, so he's okay back then.
Yeah. Well,
I was
just
unaware that this existed.
he
I'm gonna
did
have
a
to
lot
check it out.
of movies
He
and
was-
whatnot when he
Well,
found
he
out.
liked Star Trek, right?
Me? Oh,
No, I
Bruce
think
Willis.
I
No, I
think
don't know.
Willis kind of likes Star Trek or something. Well,
I
to
don't
do
know.
this, I don't know how much money they had to give him. You know what I mean?
Well, he just played a plant in one episode for a few minutes, where
Fun far.
uh,
Hey,
well,
Canadian Spider-Man, hello. It's good to see you, buddy.
Kelly breaks up with Cassius. Then Bruce Willis voices the plant.
The Rob Lowe blue guy.
No. That Cassius, he was the teacher aboard the Orville. That
Yeah.
Star State. He breaks up with them.
I do have an experience with that blue guy. Well, Rob Lowe on a set of Code Black. He bumped into me from behind.
Ooh, tell me
Oh,
more.
my.
Oh my!
Accidentally, obviously.
Mhm.
At least I think it was accidentally.
Guys, I just clicked. I just had a weird click. If anybody's commenting looks strange, let me know so I can fix it. That was on me. And Helen, good morning. It's still good morning on the West Coast. On metric time over in Canada. It's good to see everybody in our pale Canadian Spidey swinging through the chat. Let's see if we can get a little more current. Maybe we'll have time for Section 31. Maybe we won't. I'll say this. I guess let's, since we're running with this Star Trek ball, let's pass the hot potato. There's a Section 31 movie coming out. They're saying a lot of weird shit about it, guys. One thing they said is they can kind of fulfill their Kelvin obligation if they put it in movie theaters for one day. Seemed to be what they're intimating. And that would be, if they pull this move where they weave all the licensing of Star Trek together and make it impossible to separate anything out or understand it, we will never be able to fix it. The game people had to walk away. The gaming people said, "Forget it." To the TV people, they can't support their canon anymore in the game. It's a distinct panel of great people. We've got Philip Gaming, Spidey, and we have Mighty Snail, and you should consider joining us. Let me take a look. The Section 31 movie, I have weird feelings about. They got Michelle Yeoh. That's got to cost them a lot of money. This is her year to make money. She's not wrong for wanting money. And the question I would ask would be, why ever would you be able to? Why ever would you put all that money into just one person? How is she going to act her way through the lack of special effects, the lack of production, the lack of ability? If they time travel her like they say they're going to do, it's just going to be a way to shortcut her into our reality, have her go around and in front of all other stories, outflank all other stories, and then she will somehow magically end up being in the timeline ahead of Enterprise, behind Trek 09, but they will call it Kelvin because you can't call it unkelvin. I don't know how it would work, but I guess she is from the Kelvin timeline, and then by going back in time, whatever she does to change time, Therefore, it's Kelvinified the timeline and arguably either erased one or created another. And that will definitely created another. It would lead to massive confusion. I don't know how we would suss out what was what, like which property was which from the show to the movies. Like that's the danger here, that they could mix. All she would have to do is meet Zoe Saldana and Sulu. All she'd have to do is
this
meet
is not
Zoe
going to be good.
Saldana and Sulu.
This is going to be terrible. Section 31 movie.
What's the worst case scenario for Section 31? That Discovery comes back to the future and brings with them a female hybrid of Picard and Kirk, who's a villain. And I just sent out an X to Spidey, a tweet on Torpedo as it is, although I am a little behind in the chat. Yeah, it's cool to have someone who's part of the production. We get some insights. I guess, talking about Discovery, that's another can of worms. I won't put you on the spot, but I do know it's not that hard to get you going on Discovery because it just gets to the Star Trek fan in all of us, doesn't it?
Yeah, I'm a Star Trek fan first, and then I became an actor.
Fact.
And
yeah.
I really, 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 really hate Star Trek Discovery.
It's a really, 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 really bad show.
By the way, this thing about them making 7 a captain, 13 months out of the academy, that's the Star Trek legacy thing that you see all over hashtagged. That's the show they want. They want Captain 7, 13 months in Starfleet proper, with first mate Raffi, who's dating each other, which is a conflict of interest in every military ever. And they're the commander and second in commander. And we found out from Picard season 3 that Raffi has committed mutiny 13 times. So, she's there for her number 14 mutiny. Absolute insanity. And that would be your command crew in your Star Trek show. That's a big, big mistake. They already said they don't trust the Borg.
Yeah,
and we already know Raffi's a multiple mutineer. You can't put her in charge.
Yeah,
that's
I don't even
not
like
a bad idea.
The aspect if they do Star Trek Legacy that they're going to have 7 of 9 and Raffi maybe like in a relationship off and on the series. Like, I don't think that's needed, but they're going to end up doing that if they do that show.
It's good to see everybody exchanging friendly hails, and I'm drawing a little closer to the moment on the chats. I'm sorry I was a little behind, guys. What can I tell you? It was a good conversation. We were learning a lot of stuff, and I guess it means that we will have time. A lot of interesting conversations about batteries. I am in no position to assess it. Yes, Susie Plaxton is Dr. Solar. Very good. Radioactive knows his TNG. She also plays the Q girlfriend in that weird episode where the Q manifests as a Civil War humans, because there's a fight within the continuum, the Voyager episode. It's not the worst. It's just a little too weird. It was like, what's popular right now in 1996? Well, the Civil War is very popular. Okay. And who's our most popular character? Well, we could get John Delancey back. Okay. I want a John Delancey Civil War idea on my desk tomorrow. It seemed like that's like they just dialed it up.
Hey, any chance to get Q in there, I'm down. Like, even if it's not the best.
Except when he infuriated us in Picard 3, to me. I was infuriated because it was like you were wishing and waiting that they would have the Q show up, be like, this just won't do, John Luke. And everybody's back to being human so they can have some accountability. We need to mention that's to do. You know what? We have later on today, Andy, go ahead and just ask him. I think Doomcock, he might even have a song for it. Who knows? Doomcock comes well prepared. That's the thing about Doomcock that I can't do is one man steps to the mic and brings like I don't know, dozens of characters with him. It's amazing. I'll be listening tonight. I can't wait. But what does it say? To Paul, Lieutenant Savick, make it happen. Yeah, I mean, let's do this. You know what? And then maybe after they're at it for a while, like a Romulan pizza guy comes.
Ooh,
Yeah.
The plot thickens in
Ooh, it's the
more
daughter
than
of
one
Rosie O'Grady
way.
Songbird.
Oh
It's
my!
the let's see if I can do this without infringing on someone else's idea too much. Although the daughter of Rosie O'Grady is public domain, I won't do it too much. It's like she's the daughter. She's the daughter of lesbian Vulcan. She's a regular, logical girl. She isn't crazy for human things, transporters, Romulans, or starship things. That's good, man. That's funny. You know, Sean Carter helped out creating Enterprise Wellerman. So if you have like a song idea, Doomcock does have a Gmail. What is it, Dictor Van Doomcock at Gmail? I just checked. It's in the channel description for Overlord DVD. If people have song parody ideas for Doomcock, like he has looked at them in the past. All right, we've put this off long enough. You can tell this is a new Trek show. You can tell that on this show we cover a new Trek because like we try anything we can but to talk about it. Here's Todd Stashwick. Look at this. Did he microdose LSD before the interview? He seems cool. I'm not gonna kid, but like he's making like his crazy kind of kooky face and like he's good at it. So here we go. Todd Stashwick. This is the Section 31 show. Now Section 31 is in the Voyager timeline.
What? I thought it was Discovery.
No, it's Captain yeah. Sorry. Thank you for correcting me. It's in the Discovery timeline. Right. Thank you. Sorry, Philip. Sorry, guys. Yeah, it's in the Discovery. It's in the Discovery timeline, which is partly I want to say Enterprise, the Strange New Worlds timeline, but not really because both shows make too many mistakes for them to say they're still in the timeline they started in. So both shows are now like in a speculative universe of their own, like dumb creation. But here, this guy was a good actor. He was able to sell a fucking really lukewarm character. And I don't know if we'll play the whole thing, but here they are. They think they've got their Section 31 movie ready to go. They're saying they're filming it, but we've heard stuff from these people before, so I'll believe it when I see it. But here we go.
This is
like I said, microdosing, maybe.
Todd Stashwick, and you are watching Trek Culture.
Is that too loud, guys, out there in the audience?
No, it's
Let
fine.
me know, because I don't. Yeah.
It is slightly on the loud side, but not too
We
bad.
hear it a little bit differently than our audience. I'll take it down just a touch.
Hello everyone, how are you? Sean Ferrick here for Trek.
Hi, buddy.
I have mixed feelings about Trek Culture. They get some stuff wrong here and there.
I'm just gonna say it. I think that it's a PR company, and I think that their job is to subvert and destroy old Star Trek by damning it with faint praise, which is what they do, and to be unconditionally behind every new Trek product, even at the expense of contradicting things they've said before. Like Sean Ferrick has said things that I don't believe are true, and I want to see proof of it that he said it. He goes, "Everyone knows I've expressed disdain with problems on Star Trek Discovery, bro. I have lived in your coverage of that show." You loved everything they've ever done. So here we go.
Trek Culture, and we are coming at you with the news because, of course, all everyone's been talking about for the last few
Notice his Deep Space Nine, or is it Star Trek movie? I'm sorry, Sean, I didn't mean to catch you in this.
hours.
He looks better there. Look at the uniform that he has behind him. He doesn't have a new Trek uniform. You know, I don't think I don't think it exists. I don't think he can get it. So he's just wearing some kind of weird T-shirt.
You can, but yeah.
It's either like prohibitively expensive and looks to be made to order, and it's like a really long wait time. I've looked at this on Amazon. Or it's new Trek stuff that really, really, really looks like old Trek, and no one really buys it because the old Trek stuff is out there, and that seems to be what people buy. And when I watch their own publicity, they're wearing old Trek outfits. So it seems to me that there's three tiers of new Trek merchandise. It's very, very, very crazy expensive that only you'd have to be crazy to buy, and that's a really long wait time. Middle tier stuff that exists in name only, that's always out of stock. And then low tier Halloween costume level stuff that films badly, so they don't wear it because they either wear new Trek stuff, or in this case, he's just wearing a T-shirt. But let's hear what he has to say. He's going to do a little info dump, and I don't even know who Ash Tyler is. Help me out here. Is that the doctor? No, that's Dr. Colbert. Who's Ash Tyler?
I don't know.
Is he one of these dicks we've picked up along the way? Let's go. Here we go.
Is the fact that we have the announcement of new cast and a production of Star Trek Section 31. Yes, this is the long discussed, often changing project that is going to be starring Academy Award winning actress Michelle Yeoh, who will be reprising her role from Star Trek Discovery as Emperor Philippa Georgiou. Now, the news that's come out is that yes, production has begun, and this comes with an awesome image that's been released online of our favorite Emperor, Michelle Yeoh, holding the clapperboard with what we can only assume is the official logo for the project. But put a pin in that, because I'm going to come back to that, but I want to talk about the cast that's been announced. The new characters are being played by Omari Hardwick.
I'm sorry, I already have so many problems with the things that he said. I already have so many problems with the things that he said. I have a theory, and no one has to weigh in on this, but this is what I think. I think that this idea is becoming Star Trek Picard Season 4 mixed together with Michelle Yeoh, because between Patrick Stewart and Michelle Yeoh, if they mix them together, they'll be able to get some kind of movie, and that they'll be able to take them and say it's their Kelvin iterations, or have them go together with their TARDIS or Stargate into the fucking Discovery and Kelvin universe, and somehow like throw themselves through it in a way that satisfies their Kelvin movie commitment. Because I'm not too sure about, but it seems to be, if they don't get this movie made in by the end of 25, I'm going to say, they lose their right to it. Like we see it with rented and leased
I heard something about
properties.
that. Yeah.
Yeah, they might have timed out, because Star Trek Beyond is now, what, like 7 years ago? 8 years ago? When was it released? It's a long time ago since Star Trek Beyond. And it's a really long time.
2015 or 14?
Yeah, so we're coming up on, it'll be 10 years. It's 10 years. And we're going to override the release date, because I think it was a spring movie, but it doesn't matter. We're going to override the release date this year, and then it'll be more than 10 years. And I think that if they go, like, for a long time, the movie just had to be in development, was all they had to say. So they kept announcing they were developing and working on it. It's changed over and over and over.
2016.
So it looks like 2016. So we're 8 years out. 7 is a big number legally. 7 is a huge legal number in your marriage, in your business. It's a huge legal number. They deal out legal sentences in pieces of 7. You know, it's like 7 years for like a felonious assault. It's like 7's like a big legally operative number. They like to use it.
Casey Roll, Sam Richardson, Sven Roygrock, Robert Kaczynski.
Who?
Humberly Gonzalez.
Who?
And James Hiroyuki Liao.
Who the fuck? I don't know who these people are. But
Where
whatever.
have you seen these people before?
Nowhere, probably.
If you've been to your post office and you've seen a wanted poster on the wall, where are you going with this, Ferric?
If you're a fan of the series Power, then you will know Omari
Power's a pretty good show.
Hardwick as his role of James St. Patrick. He is a double Image Awards winner who's also appeared in movies such as The Mother alongside Jennifer Lopez, and he was also recently in Zack Snyder's Army of the Dead, but maybe let's not hold that against him.
He finally said something I agree with. Congratulations, Sean. Not the biggest Army of the Dead fan myself.
Even more impressive is the fact that he's not just an actor, but he's also a poet and a musician. He's got an album coming out as well, so he's one of those can do anything people. Casey Roll, I actually remember from Brian Fuller's TV series of Hannibal, which is a deeply unsettling and weird show, and I loved it. Brian Fuller, of course, we will all remember as the initial showrunner of Star Trek Discovery, and I cannot wait for that behind-the-scenes book to be released. In Hannibal, Roll played Abigail Hobbs. She's also appeared in productions like Red Riding Hood, she was in the reimagined series V, and she's made appearances in The Magicians as well. Veep fans may be delighted to see Sam Richardson.
I mean, I'm not overly impressed. I mean, it's not like these people are nobodies, but like tertiary characters from big shows mostly. I don't know. Like you can see, like I kind of said, we wouldn't get a lot of people we've heard of.
Making an appearance in Section 31. I know him most recently from his guest turn on Ted Lasso. So I'm interested to see.
I don't know if being a comedian disqualifies you, but I like, where's our dramatic tour de force actor?
If what kind of a role he's going to play in Section 31, because, and it's just because I've got his comedy chops on my mind. I'm like, Section 31? Okay, no, not really.
All right, so again, Trek culture, it's trash. They're just trying to promote the cast of this show that no one wants it. It's unasked for. Star Trek fans in us. Some of us know more than others as far as watching the new Trek. Philip, do we really need a Section 31 after they didn't get the show for so long that they kind of Section 31'd anyone?
No, at least we're not getting the Star Trek Section 31 that we want. This is not what we want.
No,
Everybody
that-
wanted the Section 31
Go
from
ahead.
Deep Space Nine, Section 31.
Right. If we have to have any deep space, if we have to have any secret spy organization in the Federation, let's do it more like they did it on Deep Space Nine. Try to have some of it make some semblance of sense. Like it would be nice, right? But no, it's got to be weird.
But at least I'm glad they're
Um,
not wasting good actors. Oh, I'm not saying these are not good actors, but like, big name
Right.
actors that are going to ruin their reputation on a project like this.
Yeah, and you got to feel bad for the bit part actors because when we looked into some people's Twitter, I saw people being forced away from mourning personal tragedies in their life and people losing other jobs because of the chaotic schedule of the filming of New Trek. They like basically like they hire one person who's got a big name and that person works and they'll shoot around it because what they do is they turn right around and they have like I think we're like up like 3 for 3 of like doubling the production time by blaming the fans and it just go ahead.
Sorry, I've been interrupting you too much. I'm sorry. I apologize for that. Buddy
No problem.
Hepburn just said Carl Weathers passed away.
What? Oh no. He was pretty old though, like older than we thought he was from just looking at him. Oh my gosh, he was not that old. Well, we have breaking news, ladies and gentlemen. It's sad. Buddy Hepburn, I'm sorry to say you have the unique distinction of having brought us news. For this, I reward you with a standard wrench. It is a regular wrench. I hope you'll use it only for good. But thank you for informing me. That's terrible. So this takes me by surprise. Let's go ahead and take a look at it here. Wow. This kind of all right, Section 31 coverage is over for now. We have some sad news in pop culture. We had seen him all. He had been in so many iconic roles. God, Buddy Hepburn, thank you for joining us. I will continue with the, yeah, this is breaking news. So I guess like I should act like a breaking news kind of person. What? My gosh. So let's take a look. Carl Weathers. 76 years old. Wow.
Carl Weathers, Rocky's Apollo Creed and Mandalorian actor, dies at 76.
Can you hear that?
Yeah.
You can?
Yes.
All right. Guys, it's your buddy Admiral Teag. I'm going to throw it to our affiliate Variety, and Ethan Shields AI is going to read this for us. Let's hear it right from Variety.
Carl Weathers, Rocky's Apollo Creed and Mandalorian actor, dies at 76. By Ethan Schanfeld. Carl Weathers, who starred as Apollo Creed in the first 4 Rocky films opposite Sylvester Stallone, died Tuesday, his manager Matt Luber confirmed to Variety. He was
Tuesday?
76. Weathers also starred in 1987's Predator and had a memorable role in Adam Sandler's Happy Gilmore. He was nominated for a Primetime.
All right, so Tuesday, I guess wee hours of the California morning when it was already, say, let's say he died at 3 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, and the coroner has him a few minutes later. It's the next day. You know what I mean? 24 hours later brings us to Thursday. So what's the date on this article? Is it's breaking now? 2.5 days. Am I getting that right? Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. So really,
keep under
about
wraps.
the meat of 2 days.
Well, they got to show the family a bit of respect, give them time to grieve just a little bit before telling everybody. So
this article is 20 minutes old, so 19 minutes ago. Carl Weathers, Rockies, Apollo Creed, and Mandalorian actor, dies at 76. Let's listen to more.
Emmy Award for Outstanding Guest Actor in a Drama Series for his work in the Star Wars series The Mandalorian. He voiced Combat Carl in the Toy Story franchise and played a fictionalized version of himself in a recurring role on Arrested Development. His other credits include the TV series Street Justice, Colony, The Shield, Chicago Justice and Brothers, and the films Close Encounters of the Third Kind, Death Hunt, and The Comebacks. After working with Sam...
You know what? Carl Weathers had a fucking very varied and storied career. He did pretty good. That's a lot of different work. None of those roles really have anything in common.
he starred in them all. That's what they have in common. I'm smart. I see patterns no one else sees. I'm sorry to be this jolly with all due respect. My dude. Sorry to see you go. It's weird. My dad told me when I was a kid that it was weird for him to see his hero die. His heroes, Flynn and all those. And I have come to, I'm turning 47 this month, and I've come to see Carrie Fisher die, Robin Williams, all these people that I love so much, and they're starting to die. And it's just, I've become my dad. Well, my dad's age at that time, but it's weird.
Yeah, all my favorite musicians are dead now.
There you go.
All of them. Michael Jackson's dead. Whitney Houston's
Jimmy
dead.
Page is alive.
My favorite guitarist, Eddie Van Halen's dead. They're all dead.
That one shocked me. I didn't think that Ozzy Osbourne was going to ever outlive Eddie Van Halen, but lo and behold. Although I heard Ozzy's not doing so great either. I was sad to hear that.
Oh, yeah. But he will outlive everybody.
So breaking sad news here. It's our sad duty to tell you we've lost our pal, Carl Weathers. Did a lot of different acting work. Buddy Hepburn, thank you for the information. Hello, Michael Butcher out there. It's your buddy, Admiral Teag. Good to see you. Welcome to the show. Yeah, come on. Apollo Creed, that was an iconic role. How many people remember fucking how great Rocky was? I mean, look at this guy did some iconic stuff. So yeah, thank you, buddy, for the information. You got your wrench earned, well earned. We found out something here of major importance. It's sad. It's sad. I guess, what's your favorite role? Anybody want to go on that one?
The Predator one. That would have to be my favorite role.
His role, mine would be Rocky.
See, I don't care for the Rocky movies, so I couldn't really go there.
Yeah, Rory Gallagher and Stevie Ray Vaughan gone for years too.
Vaughan did
Welcome to the chat, Mr. Butcher.
Vaughan did a beautiful rendition of Little Wing for a Gibson commercial. God damn, that's such beautiful guitar play. It's amazing. I love it.
Man, I'm thinking of like sitting in the theater watching that amazing fucking fight scene like with my parents, you know what I mean? Like you're kind of old enough to see Rocky because Rocky was too inept to have sex. It was just like Adrian. It was like you can actually bring your family to see. Rocky's the best movie about a person with semi-limited intellect I've ever seen. But he's cool because he keeps doing the right thing. He's just like takes him a little longer to think it through than everyone else. That seems to be like how they nerd. Unless it's boxing, then his IQ and his ability is like 300.
Like Forrest Gump or something. Just double.
Forrest Gump with boxing.
When he rocks, he rocks. When he rolls. But most of the time, he's not doing okay. Let's hear the end of the Variety article. I'll take it back 10 seconds to orient us here, and we'll hear the Variety article about the loss of Apollo Creed, ladies and gentlemen, and Grief Karga more recently. Arrested Development. Was there anything Carl Weathers couldn't do? I would just, not to sound crass, but honestly, the one thing he could have done is 2 out of 2 people from the movie he was in ran for governor and won. He should have run for governor. He would have won.
Yeah, that's a good smile.
There's a bit about that. There's a SNL bit because 2 of the other actors became governors from Predator.
Yeah, and it was just so strange.
And Jesse Ventura, and there's a SNL bit where like vote for me, Carl Weathers, the black guy from Predator.
I didn't know that SNL had picked up on that. Maybe I heard about it years ago because honestly, that was the one thing that always went through my mind.
And then like he said, oh, like you don't want Danny Glover, he's from Predator 2 or something. It was funny.
R.I.P. Let's hear the end of his obit.
Colony, The Shield, Chicago Justice and Brothers, and the film's Close Encounters of the Third Kind. Depth.
So many different varied titles. He was gifted.
Hunt and the Comebacks. After working with Sandler on the 1996 golf comedy Happy Gilmore, Weathers briefly reprised his role in Little Nicky and voiced a character in Sandler's animated Hanukkah comedy 8 Crazy Nights. He is survived by his ex-wife, Mary Ann, and their 2 sons. More to come.
Just a quick word from our sponsor.
No.
And condolences to his family.
And R.I.P. to a great pop culture hero. Sometimes the bad guy, sometimes the good guy, always a relatable guy. Force-Tended Navarone, he is good in that. That movie's a little weird, but he's good in it. I like that movie. I gotta say, I'm a little bit in shock, and it's very sad. A star all my life. Like I'm a little kid when Rocky comes out. I can barely remember it, and he comes back in that. At least I think is it twice, right? He comes back twice. He comes back in the second movie's a rematch, and in the third movie they're friends, and we lose him to a bad. No, for the fourth movie we lose him to a brawl to Drago, right? So he hangs around for a while. Yeah, he survives for a while.
And there's also a director's
episode
cut
of The $6 Million Man. Wow, thank you, Radioactive. Sorry, go ahead.
There's a director's cut that came out like a year and a half ago of Rocky IV. It has extra scenes in it, but they cut stuff from the film. It's hit and miss if you've seen the director's cut of Rocky IV.
Sometimes they make a director's cut just because there's extra footage that's almost like up to quality as far as filming. It's like the shots framed right, the dialogue was recorded properly, but maybe it doesn't add anything to the movie, or maybe it even takes away from the movie, and it's just weird like that.
It adds and takes away. It's freaking weird.
The Apocalypse Now movie was just like there was extra footage that he never should have shot. It's like if you ever saw Hearts of Darkness about the making of the movie, the book that Apocalypse Now is based on is called Heart of Darkness, and it's about 19th century African colonialism. So that's how weird Francis Ford Coppola's idea is, imposing it onto Vietnam. But as we saw, it worked really well. But did you ever see the Apocalypse Now Redux, where they come across the crashed helicopter and all the other crazy kooky shit that didn't make it into the final edit? And the 1 second with Harrison Ford and his one line. Do not get that movie for Harrison Ford.
Oh, by the way, I know this is taking everything away and all, but I just remembered today I learned that Dracula, the novel, the original novel, it was published in two other forms. First in Iceland and then in Sweden. Those were the first to get that novel. Now you know.
Wow. Well, I mean, a lot of these books, like Sherlock Holmes, is like originally published in a originally published in as a serialized in like some kind of magazine or newspaper.
Yeah, same thing for Iceland.
Christmas Carol too, as well. It's he does it for a newspaper, and I think he misses a deadline or falls flat and can't thread the story together in time. So there's something in there where he goes, what I thought would take 3 days only took 1. And that's like buying back something he said earlier because he just wasn't able to finish that thread in the time he had allowed to him. But it doesn't kill his story because the guy was still a good writer. I think that like people want stories to succeed. And like we can count on that for a little bit. You can count on that as a creator a little bit. But then you get to the point of abusing it, like wanting Star Trek, New Trek to succeed. It's just like you want it to not to be terrible, but it's like some people fall into like a Mandela effect. The original version more than the new version. They took out the weird Paulie's birthday. Yeah. Wow.
How do you figure that
Predator?
Mandela effect?
Which Mandela effect?
You just said that some books fall into a Mandela effect. I failed to see how. Never mind. Let's go on.
Yeah, help me out here.
I'm busy trying to find the Carl Weathers clip. Sorry. Can't find it.
There are great candidates of pictures of him, and looks like he's having fun a lot of the time. But a good actor, a guy that we enjoyed. That's really too bad about Carl Weathers. It's just too bad. Let's see. I guess what we'll do now is what does it say here? Carl played 8 games for the Raiders in 70 and 71. I didn't know about that either. Probably quit playing professional football because at that time he's like, I don't need to make $80 playing this hard. Even I don't care. It's just too much work for $80. I wonder does anyone know what position he played? I'm guessing he was like maybe he could have been a running back in the that early in football, but I'm guessing he was a receiver based on today's builds. I don't know. I didn't know he'd played football, but like certainly we'll miss him. I guess what will they do in The Mandalorian now? In immediate pop culture, just looking to The Mandalorian.
They will insert a woman and make her gay and lame.
They probably will put a chick in it and make it gay and lame. Wow. So he was a linebacker. All right. So he was on, I'm going to guess the defensive line because he's like not offensive linemen tend to be really, really big. So I'm going to, either the offensive line or he was, one of the people 6'1". All right. I mean, but NFL sized, I don't know. The average NFL guy, 6'1" is like, seems to be like average height in the NFL.
Was she like a quarterback or something?
BC Lions in Canada. On the offensive linebacker, I would imagine that he would be, and the name is escaping me. There's the cornerback chases the primary wide receiver. If he's on the If he was a linebacker, if he was on the defensive line, based on his size, maybe he was chasing down the other team's primary wide receiver, trying to stop that from going down. If he was an offensive linebacker, that's a little bit harder to believe, but it was so long ago in a different game, in a 14-game season as opposed to 17 now. That offensive linemen back then tended to be really, really big guys who fell forward onto the linemen. So if he was an offensive lineman, it doesn't say he was a receiver. He might have been like a back, but I can't see him being like right up at the front of the line, like an end lineman more likely. But who knows? The NFL's changed that much. One season for the BC Lions, so he really did try to make it as a football player. I think Al Bundy was a football player too, but I guess with that,
Al
hello
Bundy
Wes
was.
Cagle. Welcome to the show. We just found out we lost our pal Carl Weathers, Grief Karga, Apollo Creed, R.I.P. So many movies. Wow, what a shame. 77, getting up there, but not that old. I didn't expect that.
Yeah, it was acting fairly recently. He did a Mandalorian.
Yeah. It looks like they're identifying him as actor Predator 1987 on IMDb. This is this is something you'd have to call triumphant. Let me put this up here before we pack it in, and we'll give everyone a chance to say what they're doing. So get your links and your plugs ready, gentlemen. Yeah, we lost Apollo. What are the whereabouts of what are the whereabouts of Dolph Lundgren right now? Do we know where he is? He was definitely around long enough to know how to direct. Do we know where Dolph Lundgren was? He had nothing to do with this.
I will break you.
Yeah, I kid. I miss Carl Weathers too. I definitely use sarcasm to try to deal with these things, and I am sad. So here we go. The Mandalorian, actors and athletes against gang violence. So the guy cared about people being against violence and gangs. That's pretty common sense. Hard to argue with it. The Artful Escape video game. Toy Story 4 Combat Call voice. Star versus the Forces of Evil TV series. I guess it's a cartoon voice. Omnitraxis and Omnitraxis fine. Defrost, the virtual series TV short. Law and Order SVU. That's pretty big. SA Special Agent Mark Jeffries. He was on the Kurtzman Magnum PI show in 2018. Explosion Jones as Duke Firestorm. That sounds like it's probably a pretty good role. Chicago Justice, Chicago PD, Chicago Fire, Colony as Bo, Mortal Kombat 10, Think Like a Man 2, TOO, The Regular Show, hey, I like as the Basketball King, God of Basketball voice, Toy Story of Terror, Combat Carl Jr., Carl's Jr., you get it? Arrested Development, Sheriff
Carl's
Tom
Jr.
versus the Zombies. So many titles. The Shield, Alien, Siege, Mercenaries, video game, Balto 3, Wings of Courage, Sweet Spot, 8 Crazy Nights, like I said, Little Nicky, Elevator Seeking, Assault on Death Island, Assault on Death Mountain, Assault on Devil's Island, Happy Gilmore, In the Heat of the Night, so that serious drama, OP Center, Street Justice, Hurricane Smith, Tour of Duty. That was like a serious Nom show. He's in 9 episodes of that. Dangerous Passion. Action Jackson, that great movie. Predator, great movie. Fortune Dane. I don't know that one. The Defiant Ones. The video for Living in America because he's Rocky. Rocky 4, Breaker, Rocky 3, Death Hunt, Rocky 2, Force 10 from Navarone, Semi Tough. I remember that. I think Burt Reynolds was in it. Dreamer Tatum, Close Encounters. Wow, he's in a landmark movie, Hostage Heart, Tales of the Unexpected, Del Vecchio. He's in Serpico, Barnaby Jones, Starsky and Hutch, of course, Rocky, Most Wanted, McCloud. I think that might be a Highlander show. Just kidding. Friday Foster, Bronk, Switch, Cannon, The $6 Million Man, SWAT, The Four Deuces, Bucktown, Kung Fu, Good Times, and Magnum Force? The real Magnum Force. How do you like that, guys? Carl Weathers. What? Wow. I mean, Philip, you're the actor. What do you think of that resume?
That's top tier right there. Like, can't get much better than that.
You don't get much bigger in the world of Hollywood than the late, great Carl Weathers. What else can I say? We're going to get ready to dip out. I'm going to come back to you guys at around 6:30, but first I'm going to go by Pop Culture Minefield. They're having a little birthday party, and it's going to be fun to see that. Let me put their link up on the screen. Check them out. Think about subbing to Pop Culture Minefield. It would be really cool. And think about supporting Vindicated Inc. I'll be over there in a little while. They're going to be celebrating. And I think some other people who are some other interesting luminaries, bigger than myself, much bigger than my humble self, will be there too. So, Philip, anything you want anybody to know? You have anything to pitch to us? Anything going on?
Nothing new on YouTube, but I have some projects coming out probably this year that I have small roles in. Shepherd Code, independent film. Be on the lookout for that. It'll be probably like limited release. And then also Fatal Anniversary, independent film. I play police officer. And Shepherd Code, it's like has some famous people in that film from the 80s. Director of Kickboxer is in the film. Yeah, check those out.
All right. Cool. Great pitch out. Thanks. Right over the plate. Mighty Snail, what would you like to tell people?
I would like to tell people that the guy who played Vivian in The Young Ones also played in Star Wars as an officer. And that is all I have to say.
Wow. Okay. Well, that is something worth knowing for shit sure. I also noticed that in the new trailer for Ghostbusters, which I saw, they had what do you call it? Dickless, the guy that they call Dickless in Ghostbusters 1, seems to now be the mayor, and they're having a sort of, how do I put it? Like he's telling them they're through and he's not going to let them help anybody. It's the same situation, but now he seems to have more power. It looks pretty cool. So I thought it was pretty cool. The new trailer for Ghostbusters, check it out. If you want to check out TGIF, the Pop Culture Minefield 5th Anniversary Bash, I'll be over there a little later. Click that link and like hit the notification. And with that, I say thanks for joining me for a FAP. We'll hang out here. And hello, John. I hope that we bought you some solace during work. Or if it's busy, at least work goes by fast when it's busy. Most of the time. I find it that way. But I thank you all. And hey, Philip, thanks for coming out. Snail, it's great to have you here.
Thanks for having me on.
It's great to be back.
Yeah, it is great to have you back. And we're back in the almighty Johnson's business because, well, we can put them up as member videos now. We don't have to worry about performance because YouTube just doesn't like anything that's not kind of trendy and new. But I think that our audience would like them. So we can do it for that and we don't have to worry about it. But I guess with that, it's time for us to say thanks a lot. We love you all. And I'll see you at about 6:30, maybe a little later.